Greetings all, Jared Petty here for IGN. Welcome to this Master Cheats Theater Resident Evil talk-through, a trip through the 3-hour time limit rocket run in Resident Evil HD Remaster. To get an unlimited ammunition rocket launcher, you have to complete Resident Evil in under 3 hours, and we're going to do that here. Now I want to be clear that this is not a speed run in the classical sense. A good speedrunner can complete this game in an hour less time than we're going to spend on this. We end up completing this in about 2 hours and 40 minutes. Rather, this is a walkthrough to show you what you and I, average mortals, might be able to accomplish with minimal practice. And just getting the task done. You see, we're already skipping all of the cutscenes. We're following Jill here through that first door. Skipping the cutscenes is important. That cuts down on the time because the cutscenes do count against the clock. We head down this hall. We're going to run right here to the first zombie. Once again, skipping the cutscene. Back up. We do not fire a shot at him. Why? Because there's no reason to waste the ammo, and ammo is going to be especially precious since we're not going to be picking a lot of it up during this run. Instead, we run through here. The cutscene there, Barry took care of him. We're running back to the hall. There's a lot of cutscenes in the first few minutes of this game, and we're skipping through all of them with our start button. I don't recommend this be the first way you play through Resident Evil. You're going to miss a lot of what's going on, and it's mostly going to be confusing and kind of frustrating. But once you've completed the game once, you may want to go back and do this run through to grab the launcher, because it is a lot of fun to be able to walk through and just obliterate everything in your way and explore to your heart's content, find every nook and cranny of the mansion, which is a good way to do things like find all the notes and stuff like that. So you see, we've gone into the dining room as we're forced to at the beginning, triggered the first zombie, come back. You saw we went up and down the stairs there a second ago to trigger the cutscene that would have Barry give us the lockpick. Now we're running back up through this door, and we're going to wind around the staircase here. Now again, unlike a true speedrunner, we're actually going to collect at least some of the weapons, because frankly I'm not good enough to beat the game without them. So we'll be picking up things like this pistol magazine here. We'll also occasionally be picking up health items that somebody doing a pure speed run wouldn't bother with at all. We'll also do a few saves here during this game. You can save quite a few times and still get in under the time limit, and I recommend it. We are going to skip those because we're going to hope we don't need them. Come up to this hallway here and try to get by the zombie as quick as we can. Now this first zombie hiding around the corner here in the mirror can be dodged, but he's a real pain because of the camera angle. So I find it easier just to knock him down. We're not actually going to try to kill him if we can avoid it, because we don't want him to come back to Crimson Head. So there's a blaze away here with the handgun, and we are going to drop him right there in front of us. And if I remember right here, we're going to grab the golden arrow, and then I'm going to screw up pretty much right here at the beginning of this walkthrough, if I remember right. Let's see if we do it here. We skip through those notes. We don't want to look at them. Bend down, get the magazine. Let's see if he starts his lurch. Oh no, we do pull it off. Good. Alright, we slip around him here. Once he makes that first lurch, you back away, and if you dive right in past his shoulder after he misses the first lurch, he'll almost always miss the second. Right through this door here. We're now headed back to the main hall. We're going to grab this dagger. Daggers are really handy when you're trying to run through this game quickly, because even though the zombie grabbing you does cut a couple of seconds off, it's still a lot easier than having to run around hoarding health items. You've only got those precious inventory slots. You notice we're using Jill for this. We're using Jill for a couple of reasons. One's because Jill's got more inventory slots, which makes some of the run-through stuff just a little easier. Second, Jill has access to better weapons, which is going to help us with some of the more difficult parts of the game. And Jill's run's just generally easier to get through. And we're also going for the bad ending. There's no reason when you're trying to do this run to go for the good one. That means we're not going to save Barry, and we're not going to rescue Chris at the end. The reason for that is there's a lot of time that goes into saving Chris that we don't want to use. It's absolutely possible to finish this game in 3 hours and rescue Chris, but if you're just trying to get the rocket, don't bother with it. You save him the first time around, you'll still feel good about yourself. Remember, he's not real. He's just a digital life form living in the game, and he doesn't know that you didn't save him. So, we let Chris die, we let Barry die, and we save the time we spend going after Chris. We get the Magnum. Let's just drop Tyrant in the lab really quickly. Barry's Magnum, not the ordinary Magnum. And also, we don't have to fight Tyrant at the end on the helipad. If you save neither of those guys, Tyrant doesn't even show up. That saves us several minutes of time there at the end of the game. So, yay for that. You see, we went down, grabbed the Book of Curses, flipped it over, grabbed the sword key. We're down here in the crypt. And running back up these stairs. So far, not a lot to worry about here. Now, these guys up at the top of the stairs, we watch them turn, and then if you run right along the edge of the wall opposite where they are, you can almost always get by both of them. Usually there's only one there, but I accidentally ran the wrong way and lured both up there. If you hug that wall and you stay on the opposite side of whichever way the guy at the top of the stairs is facing when you run up, you can almost always get past them without wasting any ammunition or time shooting. Now, I'm doing this in a very precise order. You see, I went into the dining room, went upstairs, ran through the hall, grabbed the arrow, came outside, got the sword key, came through this hall immediately. If you follow this very precise order that I'm using here, you're not going to have to worry about the broken shotgun to get the shotgun. And while it's completely possible to finish this game without the shotgun, I don't want to fool with that, and neither do you. The shotgun really helps in a lot of places. So let's run along and get that. We're going to stop here and grab a dagger, even though that eats a few seconds up, because daggers are just so darn handy. So we're going to grab the dagger, but we're not going to worry about the handgun ammunition at the end of the hall, because we're not really going to need it. So even though there's some handgun ammo hidden behind that thing, we're not going to fool with it. Jill's going to run along here a little bit into this next hallway. There's a dagger in this room, but I don't want to fool with the cuts, or not that room, but the dagger room coming up. We're going outside first. Sorry about that. We do want to run out here now and grab the chemical. That's another reason we're not filling up on too many items or healing items, is because we want to have enough empty inventory slots to grab all this on our run through. You saw we grabbed that ink ribbon. You don't really have to grab that. It depends on how much you want to save. I grabbed it because why not? But it's not intrinsically necessary. I saved quite a bit for this run through, but I was probably being a little bit paranoid, and you can shave some time off by not doing that. Alright, so we're past the bathroom. We didn't fool with the zombie in the tub to get the dagger. Just too much time to eat. If you want to go in there, there's time to do it if you're quick. Right through this room. Okay, so if you do everything in the order we've done it so far, we're not going to have to worry about the broken shotgun. Instead, we can trigger a nifty cutscene where we're going to skip that cutscene, but Barry's going to save us from the trap here. Grabbing our items. Since we've already got an ink ribbon in our inventory, we can go ahead and add another one, so, why not? Now we got 6 ink ribbons, which is most of what we're going to need for the game, frankly. So yeah, not bad to have. Okay, so you get the cutscene to trigger. I'm going to go in here. Cutscene's going to start. You skip through it, save time. Check that door. Check that door. You got to check both doors to trigger the cutscene. Otherwise, you get squished or cutscene won't happen. All right, we run through here. Barry just saved us. We're missing that part. Barry's going to talk to us some more. I'm going to get outside the room here. There we are. There's Barry. Wasted a little too long pressing the button there. Lost a second. Make a lot of mistakes in this, guys. You know what? Unless you're superhuman, it's likely that you'll make a couple as well. But the point of this is to show that even if you make mistakes, you don't have to restart. You really can pull this off and still screw up quite a bit. And that's good news. Here, I hate this guy. Normally I kill him and incinerate him. He's just such a pain, and his 2 buddies at the top of the stairs. But we don't really have time for that. I don't want to take the time to do it. Here I do something dumb. I open this up, drop some stuff off that I think I'm not going to need. Yeah, get rid of the knife, keep the key, it's a good thing. And then I come over here and grab this. I just wasted several seconds. That's really not necessary. Grab the canteen first if you're going to keep it. And drop it in there. Yeah, look at all that wasted time. Whoops. We don't save here. You could, if you wanted to. There's certainly time to do it. If you do it before you go to the item box. And then we're going to use one of those daggers. And yeah, that guy, if I'd have been more careful, I could have gotten around him. That was just silly. You can dodge around him by watching, letting him approach, letting him take his lurch, whip around, just kind of like we did with that dude right there. It's not too hard to avoid the zombies, except when they're in a blind spot off the camera, or when you got a group of them to deal with. And again, we're not gunning them down because we want to save bullets and because we don't want to have to deal with crimsons when we come back to this area. You may remember in Resident Evil Remake, if you kill a zombie and you don't burn his body, if you make him completely dead, unless you burn the body or unless the head pops, which is, I believe, a random number generator issue, then he's going to come back as a crimson later, and the crimsons are much faster and tougher, and you just don't want to deal with any more of those. Then you absolutely have to grab the dog whistle there, extra ammunition on the thing, and then the lighter. These are all items we're going to need to complete the game. So we're grabbing those, heading back out into the hallway again. Wasted a little time running over to that door again. Alright. We'll slip past this guy. Yeah, his buddy around the corner is a real pain. Never quite sure where he's going to be, so I just take a peek around, and we get fortunate. And he's always waiting to grab. Again, another reason to have those daggers. Use the sword key, I believe, to open that door. Continue along. I think the only other door the sword key opens at this point is one down in the basement we're never going to use. Okay, now you want to come through that door with an empty item slot so you can get those acid rounds. This is going to prove really useful later in the game. Again, ammo is precious on this run through. So when you come through that door at the top of the stairs, make sure you have an empty item slot. When you're back down there in the room, make sure you do that. We're peeking here. There's a zombie on the far end of the balcony. He eventually moves right to that spot we just ran past, and I think we're going to run into him in this walkthrough if I remember right. But after the first or second time you run along this balcony, he moves to that really inconvenient spot, so you got to keep an eye out for him. Okay, we're going to go out here and kill the dogs now. Then we got the shotgun. I really have a hard time with this. The right way to do it is to stand about right there, equip the shotgun, aim the whistle, listen, wait for them to come running up, then auto-aim, then shoot. And here I just blow the timing completely, and he gets a hold of me. And this, which should take about 10 seconds to kill the first dog, grab the collar, and run through the door before the second one even shows up, instead turns into like a minute-long thing of me getting chewed on. So again, right way to do it, run to the corner, aim up, shoot the moment you hear the dog coming, and just, you know, keep blasting away. Kill the first dog, grab the collar, run. Oh, we're so glad we had a dagger there, or that would have been the end. Yep. And, you know, you kill the second one only if you really have to. Here's the collar. Got that. Like, okay, got the collar. Getting healed. Says I don't need to use them right now, but I will after I get bit by it. Look at this. This is just about as bad as it can go, short of ending up dead. So end up using a lot of bullets. I'm trying so hard to save shotgun shells here. Oh, but the amount of time I'm using to do this just does not make it worth it. I should have just shot that second dog. Look at this. Oh, the seconds tick by. Running back over. Healing again. Using them again. Screwing up the use. Oh, guys, this is awful. All right. So, discard the whistle. Always discard when it prompts you to discard. You don't need these things anymore. And, yeah, that's not the way to do it. But at least by not doing it, I can illustrate to you through description how you should do it. Okay, this guy just likes to puke. In the ordinary game, again, these guys in this hall, in this body, I like to burn all of this with kerosene or incendiaries. But in this run through, it's not really going to be worth it. And now we're gonna save. Again, you do not have to save here. I chose to because I took this on a few different times. I walk over, waste some time there. I was very flustered after screwing up the dogfight. I almost started the video over at that spot. Waste time. I could have just gone to that thing once and to the item box once instead twice. While we're saving here, I'm gonna have a little stop in the narration while I take a sip of something. Delicious diet Red Bull. Alright. Back to the box again. Again, to maximize your time, save a lot of time over the course of the game. Seconds count. Just go to the box once each time you have to stop. Let's see what we're keeping here, the items that we're keeping. So we plan our route out. We're planning on using the chemical. We're planning on using the lighter. The collar is going to turn into the imitation of the key after examination. We're going to be able to use that to run upstairs and grab the armor key, which we're going to need later on. So here we have the imitation key. The armor key is located in a trap. You pull the armor key out, the trap gets set, so you got to lay the imitation in the same spot that you took the armor key out of to keep yourself from getting squished. Alright, so we head out, dodge that guy. Moving along up here. And up, around. Okay, so this guy is annoying. We let him take a grab at us, slip by. And we may have done better to gun him down, but again, at this point I was still mad about the dogs. Out into this hall, and lickety split. Do not want to linger here. This guy's going to turn into a crimson here in a little bit, if I remember correctly, no matter what we do, or a crimson shows up in the hall, if I remember right. But we're not going to fool with them. I don't like going down that hall. Some guides will run you through it, speed runs in particular, because it's a great route. But we have plenty of time to avoid it, so there's no reason to squeeze in there with those three guys. So we take this key, which is the armor key. We can't skip this cutscene. This is any of the in-game rendered stuff can't be skipped. It's only the CG stuff that'll skip. That's a little idiosyncrasy of Resident Evil. So we'll use the imitation. And now we have another key that allows us to open up other places we want to go to. We got our shotgun, we got our chemical, we got our lighter. We're running on back down these stairs, and we are going to zip through this back door. And again, we're gonna run it around and not stopping for the plant. And there's the crimson, takes a swing at us, we get by him. Back through the door we came through. If you are willing to burn a little more time, you can go around the long way out that other door we passed. But, yeah, and then these guys all come and try to flood the hall. And we're going to slip past him. Head down here because we've already got the chemical. Double checking that we had it there. And I got a little confused by the controls. The new control scheme is great, but every now and then when camera angles change, I get mixed up and lose control. I think if you've played the game, you know what I'm talking about. It's still way better than the old tank controls for most things. Alright, so grab the battery. These are really handy, especially when you're running quickly through the game. There's some ink ribbons. You do not have to take those. I am a little OCD about my ink ribbons and grab them at every opportunity. But again, unless you're going to be doing a lot of saving, the game's going to provide you. You can trust Resident Evil to provide you with the ink ribbons you're going to need to succeed. Move along here. Young Jillian makes her way through this next door. There's another battery pack. Now, in an ordinary walkthrough, we'd run down and grab a magazine out of a room down the hall. We're not going to do that. Instead, we're heading down the straight hall here, knowing that when we come out the other way, zombies are going to burst through those windows. We're not even going to fight them. We're just going to outrun them. Come over here. Yep. Use the chemical. Drop that in there. We want to turn the red knob. The red knob is the one that will kill this fella right here. Again, we have to watch the scene because it's an in-engine cutscene. Can't skip it. And this guy goes. If only Plant 42 went so easily. And there it is, the death mask. Grab that. There we go. We're going to get 4 of these. You need 4 death masks down in the crypt to get the metal object, or the metal and stone object that you need to progress through the game at a couple of points. Grab the first death mask here from behind the plant, and yay, zombies! Yep, just run. No reason to fight them. Not coming back here. As a matter of fact, we're not even coming back here to get to put the yellow or blue jewels in the eyes of the tiger statue to get the shotgun shells or the MO disc, because we aren't going to need them for this run through. Back out here to the dining room. Here we go. That's why we didn't knock the statue off. That normally the blue gem would be laying on the far side of this room because we did knock the statue off the balcony above. We are not going to fool with that. The only gem in this run through we fool with is the red one. We're going to skip a lot of things like that. The B room, we're going to skip that too because going and getting the Magnum takes a lot of time. Now, I waste so much time in other ways that if you're quick enough, you could probably get away with getting the Magnum. But if you're careful, you're not really going to need it. Getting those 6 acid rounds from Barry helps a lot with that. Because the grenade launcher is going to be kind of a staple for a lot of the game here. I do make a mistake, I think, at one point. Well, I make a lot of mistakes, but I make a mistake when we fight Yawn later on in not grabbing the assault shotgun from Richard, even though I've saved him. That extra 10 rounds of ammo in the assault shotgun would make the run through easier. And here I screw up. I looked to the left a little too soon and waste a second trying to grab that dagger. Skip the cutscene. Okay, we run around his body. No! Forrest, you got to be right around the corner. You don't want to go too far, or Forrest comes to life and comes after you. Don't go into the next area. Instead, grab that, backtrack. Don't forget to grab that dagger that we grabbed. Now I've got the grenade launcher, which is essential when we're dealing with the chimeras later on. You really just kind of need that to handle those guys. That, or you got to run and be really good at dodging, which I'm not. So that grenade launcher is going to be handy in a couple of situations. Also going to use it against Plant 42. Jill runs along this way. We head back up this hall. And eventually this hall gets even more crowded. But I head along here and not even going to fool with the zombies because we're just going to go in here and say hi to our good friend Richard. What's up, Richard? Let's see how Richard's doing. Well, we'll find him here, and we're going to... Oh, there he is. And skipping the cutscene, Richard's obviously had a bad day. Richard needs serum. That's what this cutscene is telling us. So, where's serum located? Serum is located... the map pops up automatically back in the save room down on the other side of the mansion. On the far side here. So, we want to run over to this end of the mansion and get him what he needs. So head off to that side. And we're being cautious because we're waiting for this guy. Yep. And then almost run right into him anyway. And then do run right into him anyway. I wasted so much time. I should just run around the far side of the balcony. It would have been safe. And saved a knife. So whoops on that. The right way to do that is just run around the far end of the balcony and he won't get you. And yeah, it's worth the time and the knife. So, okay, this guy right here, again, lure him. We can just shoot him in the lower legs, knock him down, or a solid shot, short range, usually enough to knock him down. But got by him here. There's going to be another guy waiting down here. Head along. Through this door into the medical storage room, and for some reason, yes, I decided to save. So we save again at this spot, because why not? You probably don't need to here at this point. I save a little too much. Then I look in this and make a little space, dumping ribbons. Dump the death mask, not going to need it for a while. I really got too many weapons markers, so I don't waste time by going back to the box again. Another clinic on things you don't need to do. Yeah, just not going to need the launcher for a while. Grabbing the serum. As you see, we're avoiding shooting as much as possible anyway, so maybe carrying too many weapons as it is. We run along back up here. And we're going to need to get back by this guy who's going to be waiting again. We try to lure him. We slip by. There we go. That first lurch and then cut past the shoulder. That usually works. And Jill makes her way out here. Alright, so Richard once again is back across the second floor of the main hall. And this time we do go the right way. There's that blue gem I was talking about earlier. Normally we would push the statue down. There's really no... I think about it for a second here. I'm like, no, wait, I don't need that. Run on. And back across the way. Now, we save Richard. Richard gives us a radio, which will advance some of the cutscenes. He'll also pop in to blast away at Yawn later on. Yawn being the big giant snake. So we come up here, give Richard what he needs. Here we go. Back through the door that we first found him at. And even though we stopped and saved and stopped at the item box, there's plenty of time. He's not going to die of poison as long as we're nice and speedy like this. So go to the cutscene. Okay, Richard. Now, I get a little mixed up. Like, which door do I go through? Oh, yeah, it's this one at this end of the room. Open this up here. And we're going to head... There's a zombie hiding in this alcove. Now here, it's just easier to drop the dude. We want him out of the way. And we're going to go into this room where we have to light the candle before we can grab most of the things that we require. Okay, there's a handgun magazine on the table you can see, but we're going to concern now. I stand in the wrong spot. To light this candle and not waste all this time, you just need to be standing directly behind it where you can examine it as an unlit candlestick. I did it there and then turned away. And again, anybody that's actually a real speedrunner is staring at this screaming at their monitor right now. I do not pretend to be a speedrunner. Grab that magazine, fire away at this guy. He comes in. I didn't finish him off in the hall. He actually took a while to go down. Yeah, then I get caught. I was trying to run away, went the wrong way, got bit in the neck, just bungled this whole thing really badly. He finally falls. I forget there's that cabinet on the left side of the screen has another handgun magazine in it that I forget about. This guy's in here. Let him take a lurch at me. I chase him out. And they start shooting it in. Really isn't necessary. You just lure him around the table and you're slow enough that you can. So look at all these bullets I'm wasting here. This is, yeah, don't do that. Just run around. Sometimes you get a little scared. Make bad decisions. Got the musical score. Gonna need that because, you know, Spencer Mansion designed by some real weirdos. And once again, leaving valuable bullets behind in that cabinet. 15 more rounds. Stopping for a second to take a sip here. Ah, Diet Red Bull goes down nice. Once again, no, we are not sponsored by anybody there. I'm just happen to be drinking that right now. Okay. Back outside, and Richard's just going to hang out. We don't have to talk to him. And since we're badly wounded, we're going to use these now. Truth of the matter is that shouldn't have let that room take that long or let me get hurt. Now you see some of the what not to do with that. Okay, so no longer on the verge of death. Back out in the hall, but we've barely made use of our new key, our armor key. We managed to get the grenade launcher, managed to go through that door. But we haven't done some of the other things that we want to get done yet. So we're running out here onto this balcony and saying, where to now? And then I kind of run around down here to this bottom gallery and go, wait, where am I going exactly? Well, I've got a musical score now, and so we head into the dining room. And here in the dining room, we're going to run up, and you're going to see there's a wooden emblem above the fireplace. Just so we pass this clock. We're going after another key, the key that we're going to need to go after Yawn. So we come up here, and we grab this wooden emblem, cut back into the hall. This is where we met our very first zombie. And we take a right down this hall instead of a left, or headed up the screen. There's going to be one zombie in the way. He's fairly easy to knock down. He goes down ridiculously easily here. Run past him, into the room. And there's a piano in here. Now, another reason that it's nice to play Jill is Jill can play piano, which makes this puzzle a little easier to solve. We've got half of the music we need already from that room that we lit with the candle. That's why we went in there first. And there, behind this bookcase, we're going to find the other half of the music we require. So we grab the other half of the musical score, and we're going to combine the two in our inventory. Then we head over to the piano and begin to play. Yep. At first I just look at it, wasting some time. Then I always have to use the notes. Now, for a second there, I got caught up in listening to the music and forgot that this is not an in-engine scene, so I could have actually skipped a couple of seconds there, but I think start right away. We look here, we take the emblem, and we replace it with the wooden one. And we can't skip this door going down because that's rendered in-game. So we take that door comes down, we place the wooden emblem. I hit the wrong button for a second there. Place the wooden emblem in, and the door goes back up. That's a file on the ground next to you. You don't actually have to grab it, and probably shouldn't when you're in a hurry. So don't worry about Trevor's diary or reading any of that. Run back out here. We did all of those things so that we could get that gold emblem, which we're going to return back to the dining hall with. And again, this house designed by convoluted madmen of some kind. We run by this guy. He tries to grab, doesn't work out. It must have, it'd be really, really hard to even open the refrigerator in this house, I'm guessing. What's the, I don't remember who came up with the old idea about the rooster key and the chicken door. Who was that? I don't remember. Anyway, it was not me. So we put the gold emblem up here, and this tiny door opens in the grandfather clock because that makes a lot of sense. Obviously, there's a gold detector above the fireplace, and somebody was really concerned that you only want to be able to get the gears if you happen to have gold plating above your fireplace. We turn the large gear to the left twice. That'll get it to 6 o'clock. Once again, large gear to the left twice. 6 o'clock, stop turning, clock rings, bing, 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 and then opens up, and behind it is another key, and this is the key that'll take us later on to Yawn's room. So we're excited about that, because Yawn has one of the death masks. Now, when we fight Yawn, we don't actually have to beat him. All we have to do is grab the mask and run. If we're willing to linger around the room and let Richard shoot for a while, then Yawn will eventually kill Richard for us. Richard will drop his assault shotgun, and we can take it, which makes going to Yawn's room with 2 empty item slots really appropriate. In this walkthrough, however, I decided that I was going to do without the assault shotgun and skip that to save time. And it probably did save about a minute of him shooting at Yawn, but in retrospect, that assault shotgun is really handy. The extra 4 rounds it can hold at a time are nice, but perhaps more importantly, it's just got 10 bullets in it when you get it. And 10 extra shotgun shells is a huge difference in the game. We actually do pretty well with ammunition in this. We do not run out before the end, so again, maybe I'm being a little too paranoid. But since you're already foregoing the Magnum, which is the most powerful weapon that you have for most of the game, it's not a bad idea to grab what little advantage you can, at least take the shells. So we come in here, and snake, a snake, oh no, it's a snake. Yep, there he is. He's Yawn. Can't skip this scene. He's all intimidating. Can't skip that one. Alright, we run around. Richard's shooting at him. I was calling Richard Rogers, I think. I can't remember. Oh, Richard, Dick, whatever. Alright, got the death mask, and here I screw up. Yeah, he bites me. What a jerk. Alright, so that's a real pain. That added probably a couple of minutes to what we're going to have to do here in the whole walkthrough. Because when Yawn bites you, you got to go get serum. So that means we got to run back down here. And we got to see Jill's like, oh, am I poisoned? Oh, I got bit by a giant snake. I might be poisoned. Yeah. Yes, Jill, you're poisoned. But you know, a master of unlocking, Jill's actually pretty far ahead, I think, on the whole vocabulary curve. Alright, she runs past this guy because there's a zombie suddenly in this hallway. Makes her way through this door, and once again, we're going to cut over to the other side of the mansion across that main bridge. Here we go. Cross the way and headed over here. Jill makes her way up here. And once again, let's not forget about the zombie waiting on the balcony. We would not want to forget about him. He's surely not in exactly the same spot. Oh, he is! That time we were ready for him, but we just about got grabbed and probably should have gone around the rail the other way just to be safe. When I said that, you go through there a couple of times, he's going to be there. And all these jerks are still hanging out here. And this guy, he's kind of wandering around the wrong way. That's good. I wonder what zombies are thinking about. I mean, I know they're hungry, but, they're like, why do they lumber and shamble? What is the point of the lumbering and the shambling? What are they thinking about that whole time? Well, anyway, there's some time eaten up. And grab the serum. Use the serum immediately. Now, you notice we come out of poisoned into a caution damage state. Now, we can live with that right now. And, back up and out of here. So we did manage to get the death mask. despite what happened there, which means we now have 2 of the 4 death masks that we need to get the guy to drop down in the crypt. And you get past this guy, move along, back through here, and going right back the way we come. If you had not been poisoned by Yawn, you could have skipped this whole trip, and we'd be popping back right back over on the far side of the mansion where we're headed again. So if you were quick enough not to get bitten by the snake on that one chance he gets to bite you, as you're running back past him that second time, then you'll be catching up with us just as we get along here. So far so good. Our time's actually pretty good at this point for what we're trying to accomplish, coming in under 3 hours. If you come in under 5, you get this really nifty handgun, and you get that anyway. But the 3 is that unlimited rocket launch. It's just so much fun. So, this is why we grab the daggers. Yep, because sometimes we come around corners and that happens. Mansion key. Okay, so you got to take these in the correct order. A room full of suits of armor. You want to take them in the following. First, you want to take the guy at the top right of your screen. Push him back. Second, the guy at the bottom left. Move over to here. Third, the guy just past across from him on the bottom right. And the guy on the top left takes care of himself. Once you do all that, you run over and you press this button, and the booby trap will not go off. If you don't do that, bad things happen. So little bars open up, and there's the jewelry box. We run over, grab the jewelry box, and we take it, go back to our inventory, we examine it, and we need to press both sides that have half hearts in them. So we press that switch, flip it over, press this switch, box opens, another death mask. There we go. We've now got 3 of the 4, 2 in our inventory, 1's in an item box. Through here. And the final death mask is located past what I think of as the Crow Gallery, which is downstairs not far from this area. So we take a quick dive through that door. It's a great way to get away from zombies, man. If you can hit that execute button, whatever it is on your particular console or PC, you can hit that button right when you get to a door. You can initiate that transfer to another screen and avoid unpleasant entanglements. This jerk, I hate this zombie so much. Taking a Red Bull break here, just a second. There we are. Oh, look, incendiary grenades. We're going to put those in the item box because this is our good chance to do it. So, again, shouldn't have opened the lid, but didn't have a lot of space there. Grabbing that first aid spray. That's also important. And putting those away for later. We have the launcher, but there's no cause to use it yet. But we do want those incendiary rounds. Incendiary shells are useful in all kinds of situations, not the least of which is that they're great at barbecuing zombies and keeping them from turning into crimsons later on. And once again, double dipping in the item box. That's some wasted time. Taking a look here, making sure I have everything. Taking the ink ribbon, decided to save, which means we're going to triple dip in the item box. But, you know, unless you're thinking you get through the whole thing without making a mistake, the problem with Resident Evil is there's no autosaves. So every now and then you are going to want to be careful. Now I stand here for a second and go, what's going on? Okay, we're fading in. That's from where we loaded back. It stopped for a little while there and then came back to load in. All right. And jerk zombie still there. Got past him. Okay, so we try to avoid going through this door the wrong way because of the condition of the doorknob, but we can get away with it on this occasion, and since somebody's going to fix it later on off camera, we don't have to worry about it. Okay, down here, this zombie comes out. We just run to the Crow Gallery the opposite way. Solving this puzzle is pretty simple. We just have to hit 3 buttons. The button immediately inside the door, this red one, we press it. Then we run to the far side of this wall, the gallery. Nope. There we go. Up, there we go. And we hit the first blue button. And then we come up and hit the second blue button. Okay, so first red button, first blue button, second blue button. Run up to this painting, hit this button, and the wall will open up. Here we go. And there's the last death mask. So we already grabbed our other 3 there at the item box. We now have all 4 of them. And we've got our shotgun with 3 rounds of ammunition in it. Now 3 rounds, since we're headed in to fight a Crimson, is not really enough. Fortunately, we know that there's a box of shotgun ammunition. Now, why I looked at that tombstone, I don't know. There's a box of shotgun ammunition off camera over here. And look, here's that area we were in before. The 2 zombies are gone, and over here in this corner, shotgun ammunition. And we saved a slot for it. Now, we've still got that ink ribbon, which we didn't dump off. So, whoops. We load the gun. That's always a good idea. And really, optimally, it would not be a bad idea to have a healing item here instead of a ink ribbon, but that's how we came down the hall. We're going to create a lot of empty item slots here. Second, there's more shotgun ammunition down here. Okay, so first one's eyeballs. Face the thing. Nope, not that one. There we go. Eyeballs. Second one is the one that's missing eyes, nose, and mouth. Is that one? Again, you got to be facing up against it. Yep. Can't skip that. So it's an in-game thing again or something. Can't skip that cutscene. Third one, nose. Okay, this is not necessary to use it now, but it's just that we're standing in the wrong position. Because it's finicky about that. There we go. And the last one, you've got to be kind of right in front of the last one. I just wonder about that guy who's been sitting up in that coffin all that time. Who put him up there? How long has he been there? Why is he up there? Why would I ever put a dude in a coffin hanging from the ceiling on rusty chains? Just, I mean, I get the Spencer Mansion's kind of a creepy, weird place, but why is this guy up here? Why did someone build a coffin trap with rusty chains? Just a little strange. Oh, here he comes. Alright, so it's pretty straightforward. Just blaze away. Fire as fast as you can. He's going to get over here. He's going to take a swipe at me. And if I raise my shotgun, he takes a grab. He's going to get a shocker, and that's the end of it. You can take him down more safely and quickly with the grenade launcher. I was trying to conserve grenades. If you don't want to worry about the wound, though, coming in here with the launcher and some grenades instead of the shotgun will take care of him. Just don't waste too many grenades in the game if you can find a way. And there's some more shotgun shells. There we go. Now we're a little wounded, but we came out of it. We made it. Okay, there's no zombies waiting up here again. Back up. So, we've got the stone and metal object, which is going to open a new door for us. To get to that, we're going to backtrack through the crow gallery we just came through. And you remember there was a zombie waiting just outside that door. So we got our shotgun all nice and reloaded. And we're going to dispatch him because we don't have to worry about him turning into a crimson. By the time we come back up through this hall, he's going to be gone anyway and be replaced by a much more dangerous hunter, whether we finish him or not. So come around the corner here, back through the gallery, back through this door. Door opens up, and the zombie is waiting. So we raise our gun, boom! And he didn't go down with the first shot, so we had to use a second. I hate using 2 shotgun shells on a zombie. But it does happen and is sometimes necessary. Alright, moving along. So, we run very quickly here so we don't have to waste a shotgun shell on the dog. Use this item while facing that. Bolt for the door, and again, use the trick just the moment you can jump it. There we go. Dog does not get us. Good. Okay, right through here, we're going to find some helpful items off on the right and left. There are some more shotgun shells. We need as many of those as we can get. Come on over here. There's a... trying to grab the first aid spray. And we're so badly wounded that while it's always good to conserve first aid spray, we're going to think about using that because it's quite possible to get wounded on this trip down here. So we're going to use it because the ravens can bite you. You can stumble into a zombie on your way back if you're not careful. And of course, you have to worry about Lisa hitting you in the face. And the last thing you want to do is be wounded when Lisa hits you in the face, because Lisa hits hard. Okay, next we have the weather vane trick here. We time it so the first one goes to west. Right there. Stop the switch at west. The next one is going to be north. That's the blue one. Skip that. Cutscene. Skip the cutscene. Get a little confused by the cutscene. Down. This one's north. Notice that in both cases, the weather vanes are kind of turned around, so in both cases, it's the kind of bottom right choice, even though one's west and one's north. Dog gets turned around. Gate unclicks. We run forward. Gate's now unlocked. And here we go. Strictly speaking, we do not actually need a weapon at this part, and could have left it behind. But I like having one. Okay, we're running past where you would normally use the Wind Crest to get the Magnum. Now, the Magnum is kind of the weapon supremo for Jill, but it does take a lot of time in the B room to get it, then a lot of time down here doing the crests, and you can totally get through the bad ending game without the Magnum, without a lot of difficulty. So we're not going to fool with it. And although I hate not having it, because it's just fun to shoot the Magnum. Alright, making our way along the forest trail here. Lum-de-dum-de-dum-de-dum, running along the forest trail. And waiting for the ROUSs, the rodents of unusual size, but I don't think they exist. So move along here, and we reach the cabin and Lisa's house. Alright, so into the cabin. There's an item box and a typewriter in here. If we are so predisposed to save, we're coming here to get the hand crank. There's actually two hand cranks in Resident Evil. I believe this one's called the square crank, or round crank or something. It's the one that's not the hex crank. So we come up here through the room. There's a typewriter. There's a fire. There's an item box in the next room. And down here, where we're hopping, is where we'll find the crank. Once you find the crank, you're going to trigger Lisa's return. And she'll be waiting when you step through the room to the fire. So we go through here. Lisa hits us in the head in a cutscene. Okay, Lisa's invulnerable. Don't waste your shots. There's no reason to waste a single bullet on Lisa. Just try to dodge faster left and hope for the best. I don't remember if we get whacked here or not. She hits really hard, so have your health full up when you face her. But cut past her, or I guess it's her right, your left, pardon me. So cut past one side of her. Hope you don't get hit. There we go. Out, and then just run. Out the door, back down the forest trail. Now, when you head back down this trail, there's going to be a zombie about halfway down. It's easy to run into his arms, but you can go around the tree on his side. We'll get down here too. And we've got the crank, and now that we've got the crank, we can get to the pool, drain the pool, and move on down into the residence area. So headed down. There he is. Around the tree. Avoid the zombie. Later in the game, when you get to the graveyard where the Magnum is again, there's going to be a second zombie waiting there you can run into, but he doesn't show up yet. So we run past here, through the graveyard. And then all of this is taking a lot of time, so we're moving as quickly as we can, because a lot of this running back and forth on these paths eats precious time on the clock. And at this point, we're moving up on our run through about the 40, up to the 49-minute mark now, which, considering the number of mistakes made, is actually pretty good, and a pretty good pace for us to be on to complete the game in the time frame that we want to get the rocket launcher. So back up the hill and past all this again. No enemies this way. No enemies here. Back into the garden shed. Now, instead of returning to the house, we're going to go through the doors that we haven't been through yet. So we come back up here, but we don't go back the way we came through the metal door. Instead, we go through these double doors. And this is where we're going to find the pool waiting for us. Out here is a courtyard with a bunch of dogs. First, we're going to get a cutscene. Let's get the cutscene. And you really can just scoot right by these guys most of the time. Quick, up there, the stairs, through the gate. Dogs are a pain. You're never quite sure what they're going to do. The randomizer on the dogs is really weird. If they get a hold of you and get around, you can be in all the trouble. Okay, we break to this side, walk over. Using this thing, getting in the right position can be kind of a pain. Again, the facing's got to be good. Got it right there. Make sure you're on center when you start to use the crane. Or pardon me, the crank. Alright, this drains the pool. We raise the gate. Pool goes down. That creates a pathway across the ladder. And we're going to be introduced to Resident Evil's most irritating enemy, the snakes. I hate the snakes. I hate snakes like Indiana Jones hates snakes in this game. In real life, snakes are fine. I kind of like them. They feel neat, and they, eat rats and pests and other things that I don't want to have around my house. And most snakes are fairly shy. I'm not a big fan of water moccasins. Those are horrible creatures. But most other snakes are all right. But in Resident Evil, snakes are jerks, and they come running out at random and bite you and poison you. Fortunately, there's blue herb, the very first blue herb you'll encounter in the game, way to get the end of the route. But to avoid getting bitten, just run like all get out. Do not hesitate. Take the corners fast. Hope for the best. Yeah, also run across this room very quickly to avoid getting ravened in the face. That waterfall there will drain much later in the game to progress. We get through this gate, and I'm just going to run past that herb for now. And snakes from the sky. Acro snakes. Paratrooper snakes. Yep, that's the 1st Snake Paratrooping Division, 2nd Battalion, Snake Army. Through this door, and we have reached the residence. Alright. So here in the residence, if you do get bitten by the snakes, there's some blue herbs. You saw them there in the bottom corner of the screen. Fortunately, we didn't get bitten, so we're going to walk past them. And right here is another save room with another item box. So, look, there's a battery. There's ink ribbon along here. Ink ribbons are provided as needed. So, once again, I probably grabbed too many there. Use an ink ribbon. Bring up a ye old menu, save our game. Gonna stop and take a drink break here for a second here. Heading around. And, okay, so right there we did a save and load because I stepped away for a little while. Loaded back up. Dropping off the crank. We're not going to need this for a very long time. And doing a little item rearrangement here. Don't need that key for a while. Going ahead and grabbing the launcher and the acid shells because I want to have them ready for when we face Plant 42. So I took the launcher and I loaded it with shells and took an extra casing. I could have loaded more into it, but that's those 12 shells I had hoped would be sufficient for Plant 42. Through this door, spider on the ceiling above you, just immediately break to the side of the room. Get away from him. He won't follow you past the stairs. He spits the poison acid stuff, but most of the time, if you're quick, you can run right by him. As a matter of fact, you can open the door while he's perched on it. You need that book in your inventory to get to Plant 42. So you want to have that. We're going to ignore all the lamps because we're not going to make V-Jolt. We'd normally look at the lamps and the pool balls in this room both. Yep, look at there. See, right through the door. That spider just, open the door. He's gone. Magic of video games, folks. Alright, now, you don't have to push this box out. If you do, push it 4 pushes, and then 4 pushes this way, out, over, and 5 this way toward the camera, and that'll lock it up and then crawl over. The reason we're doing that is if you run through that empty space, instead of going over the boxes, Plant 42 will grab you, and I just don't like it. But if you're trying to save some time, just take the Plant 42 grab and go on. But we're doing it this way, and it works out fine. It's the safer way. So we set up the box thing now. Anytime we go through this door, do not forget to go over the boxes, or your time there wasted is wasted for no good. Okay, down here, past this door, we'll be going back there later, and to room 002. Skip the cutscene, open the door. Door opens, there'll be another cutscene. Skip that one immediately. We're learning about intrigue and secrets. Ooh. Alright, cutscene skipped. Into this door. There is a zombie a little farther up in that room, but for now we're running in here and grabbing this. Okay, we come over this wall, grab the key, And if we want to be really cute, we can kind of wander around the room here for a minute. Just right. And look, he comes in after us. Now, while that's not necessarily the safest course of action, we do manage to dodge him. And if you do that, he's not in the room anymore, and you could save a couple of shotgun shells when we have to come back through this room later in the game. So, just kind of a fun little trick. Okay, we run out this door. Now we're going to double back all the way back to where our save room was, and across the hall from the save room, the key we just grabbed opens up that door. So once again, down here through the residence, back over the crates. A lot of crate climbing going on here. There we go. Goes over the crates and back down. Makes way along there. Uses the residence key. Yep, discard the key. Make space in your inventory. Into this room. Now, there's a self-defense gun just past the hang guy, and if you go past the hang guy first, grab the self-defense gun, backtrack, you won't even have to deal with him. I just walked through the wrong door. I was trying to go through the door on the right there, and I hit the button at the wrong time, which was really annoying, and I think I may actually do it twice here if I remember. Like, I was walking through the wrong door because I want to go through the door on the side there. Yep. No, I did it right there. All right. But once you open this door and grab the key, hang guy's going to fall down, so we're not going to worry with the self-defense gun. You can only shoot the self-defense gun one time, but it'll kill any non-boss thing in a single shot. So it is kind of a neat weapon. But for this run through, having that inventory spot, having to deal with putting it in and out of your inventory, because it doesn't disappear when you fire it. You've just got this empty gun that you can't reload. Alright, so we got the key we need. Now we're going to go back to room 002, and we're going to go through the secret ladder in there and down into Sharkland. As part of the game, I first played Resident Evil on PlayStation, and then later on GameCube. And the shark part has always messed with me. I am terrified of sharks. When I was a little kid, I saw Jaws, and I, to this day, won't swim in the ocean. I can't stand the thought. It's just too big and scary, and who knows what could be under there. This paranoia is a fact reinforced by a few years ago when I was standing on top of a tall building in Orange Beach in Alabama and looked down into the ocean on a winter day, and you could clearly make out what was easily a 10-foot bull shark swimming around in the shallows about 30 yards offshore. And I was like, yep, just never, ever, ever going in there. Well, anyway, there's a little diversion in my fear of sharks. So this part of the game always kind of freaks me out. Come down here to Sharkland. Alright, so we're headed into Sharkland. Now, you can save a couple of seconds pushing this box by pushing it right here when you come through instead of backtracking, except that I screw up and push the box too far so that I can't get through the passage. You should only push it one less push than that. I'm like, oh, crud, I can't fit through the hole. So I end up actually wasting more time doing it that way. You got to push all three of these boxes into here to make a little bridge across the water. So we'll back up here and a little box pushing puzzle fun. Yep. So it's not a video game if you don't push some boxes around. If this was like Adventures of Lolo, that would be alright, I guess. But I miss Adventures of Lolo. That was a good game. Anybody ever play it? If you did, put in the comments. Talk about Adventures of Lolo. How there was never a Game Boy port of that. I don't know. Anyway, or if there was, I never saw it. Alright, well, moving along. So Jill's pushing boxes here. But yeah, we're headed down to the shark area. And I'm going to make my most spectacular screw-up of the whole game when we get down to the shark area. We'll waste, again, it's like another 60 unnecessary seconds. Went in the throat there. Alright, so Jill pushes this last box, makes a bridge. Now, something about herbs in this game. I like to grab the herbs, whatever. I like to grab herbs when there's time, even if it's close to filling up my inventory, because you can always eat an herb. If you end up not needing it, you just devour it to make space in your inventory for more stuff later. So as long as you got the time to make the grab, it doesn't hurt to pick it up. I grabbed that one because sometimes these sharks will take a bite out of you here. I skipped that cutscene there. you run as fast as you can, hugging that wall, and most of the time they won't get you. But every now and then one will be on just the right track, and he will get a nip of your ankle. And if that happens, having that extra healing item is nice. So Joe runs up here. We don't get bitten. We throw this key away to make some space. All right. So we're going to head down here, run over to the ladder. Yeah. And head down into this laboratory type area. Now, the valve that you have to press here in a second is randomized. So you want to look at this chart. You see it said number 3. That's not always number 3. So you always want to check the chart first before beginning the puzzle. We hit the switch, which causes this guy to get angry and still scares me every single time. And the computer starts to yell at us, and it's kind of weird computer voice. There's the valves that we're going to be pressing in a second. So we have to hit this keyboard to release the safety. On that side. Run over here. Pull the lever. It gets stuck, and we can't skip through this cutscene. That's unskippable. Alright, so we have to run over. Hit oil pressure number 3. We hit switch 3, that raises it back up. Now, we can't just go back to the knob. We've got to go back to the control panel over here. Release the safety again, then go back over, pull the lever again. Get a little mixed up here. Right? Up. There we go. Pull the lever. Then back over to the first panel after these things drop. Here they come down. Walk over, hit this last panel, safety release, drain the water, and kill the sharks. Okay, simple enough. So we have to go through that whole rigmarole. And I realize that I'm going to need space in my inventory, so I eat that herb. Why? Because there's first aid box here, and since the shark didn't get me, I had to free up an inventory slot because first aid box is always better than a single herb. Alright, down here into the sunken hall, into Rapture. Big Daddy's waiting down here. And around the corner, there's over here by the dynamite. I faced it the wrong way when I first grabbed it. There's shotgun shells down there, and you do want to grab those. See, they kept shotgun shells in the inventory already, so we have a place for them. Not taking up any extra space. Now through this here door into the shark room. Alright. So the right way to do this guy can't hurt you, just stay away from him. The right way to do this next part is come up here to Neptune, the big shark. Come up here. First, look at this little panel thing. Not that panel thing. You look to the panel thing to the right. Don't pull the lever first. Examine the panel, then examine the lever. I was trying to save time, did it backwards, screwed things up, and could not trigger the stupid shark cutscene, which does automatically trigger if I look at this thing first and then look at the lever. So instead, unfortunately, I screwed the whole thing up. Now I'm pulling levers, just trying to trigger cutscenes. Can't push the thing because it's electrified. Pulling the lever back up. Finally looked between the little panel thing and that. I climbed down here. Okay, this is just embarrassing at this point. Running over. Please wake up, shark. I'm trying to grab the key. Come on, wake up. Try to eat me. Nope, not going for it. Not going for it. Okay, just walk over to the key box. Reach for the key box. See the key box up there on there between the two panels? Reach for that. Nope, messing that up. Pulling levers. Oh, it's just painful. It's the worst. The only thing worse than watching that, folks, would be living it. Alright, so finally woke the shark up. Now it's easy. Turn the panel off because you don't want to do it with it on. Push it into the water. Pull the switch. So much time wasted. There we go. Shark is electrified. Not going to bother us anymore. We're able to run down and grab the key. Now, folks, again, this is part of the point of this walkthrough. You can screw up royally and still pull off the 3-hour thing, as long as you're careful overall. So take heart. By the way, probably should have mentioned this earlier. You notice we chose Jill. Also, you have to do this on normal. If you're trying to do this on easy and you've been watching for the last hour, I really apologize, and I'll put that in the notes for the video. That's necessary so that you won't be screaming in rage at your screen at this point. All right, so we go back to these doors that we have not been through, or go up to these doors we haven't been through yet. There's some magnum rounds over there, but we're not grabbing the magnum, so we're leaving them, which again causes me pain in my heart. But we don't need them for this run through. So Jill makes her way through this door, unlocks it, continues on. Where will we find ourselves? Why, back up by where we pushed all the boxes. Back up the tunnel, find our way over here, and climb this ladder. We go up, up, up the mountain. Wait here for the transitions. And the transitions take a significant amount of the total time that we spend on this. Yep, zombie's still gone. He's in the bathroom. And leave him be. So we're not going to have to fool with that for a while. We're not going back down because, again, we're not going to be making V-Jolt to save time on the puzzle. We're just going to fight Plant 42 at full strength. Discard the key. All right, so I mentioned sharks. This house is just a litany of terrors for me. I'm also really frightened of bees. When I was 5 years old, I sat on a hornet's nest that was hidden in a group of railroad ties, and I was stung on my rear end so many times that I couldn't sit down for over a day. I just had to lay on my belly. Grab the insecticide spray from that guy. Do not try to take out the nest. Instead, run from these things. By the way, I used to live in Japan. They have bees this big in Japan, hornets. They're called Suzumi bachi. That means sparrow hornet. They are huge, aggressive. They're the size of flying mice. I'm not exaggerating. The first time one of those unholy terrors landed on my windshield, I really did just about lose control of several bodily functions, and I screamed like a little girl. Suzumi bachi, sparrow hornet. Look it up, guys. And a lot of the pictures you see on the web are honestly not as big as they get. They're crazy huge. They're the size of those bees. So we go through the wall. Don't look through that panel. Just spray the insecticide spray through it. Back up. Into the room again. There's actually a handgun magazine on the table, and I leave that if I remember right because we're saving an empty slot. You may be able to get away with that. Okay, back around the corner. If you try to walk down here and use the spray without going through the wall, you're going to get stung. Don't do it. Take the key. Excuse me for coughing into here. All right, now here, moving past this guy, there's room 003. That's where we're going. We use the residence key, we discard it, head on in, and we are almost to Plant 42 now. Plant 42 is annoying, especially at full strength. I really prefer killing it with V-Jolt. Oh, yeah, we're going to take this book, which tells you about the V-Jolt if you're doing it that way. And we take the red book that we've been carrying this entire time, drop it in there. Okay, so to solve this puzzle, you have to make a naked lady. So grab her belly button and move her belly button to the middle. That's easy. Really, if you've ever seen or imagined a naked person, this is a pretty easy puzzle. Or for that matter, if you just know where arms and legs go on human beings, you're pretty much all right. Yeah, regardless of gender or clothing status, you can pretty much figure that one out. Okay. So here we go. Door to Plant 42. Equipping the grenade launcher with acid rounds, which are fairly effective against the plant. Heading in, if you're really, really good, you can stand on the middle balcony and do this. I'm not. Really, this boss fight drives me nuts. All right, so you run over to Plant 42. My first shot, you have to elevate your gun. I elevate, and then I realize that even though I loaded my grenade launcher, I forgot to equip it. So yeah, there we go. That's how the fight starts, with me taking a shotgun blast when I meant to use the grenade launcher. How about that? So we examine that first aid case and find some herbs inside. Herbs, as it were. Why do you keep saying herbs? I don't know. So we run up here, Plant shooting acid at us. We head up the stairs. Back around. That's where you can shoot if you're really, really good. I'm not. Let's try this again with the right weapon. We aim. We elevate. We fire. Get closer. Aim. Elevate. Fire. Ah! Oh my gosh. Are we hitting it? We're taking so much damage. Ah, fire again at its bulb. Shooting at the evil plant, spraying acid and death upon us. Alright, yeah, made it mad. It's like, I'm kind of hurt. Oh, it's actually possible to kill it with far less. Accurate. Combine, reload the weapon. Go into HE rounds. Incendiaries are effective against the plant too. I'm just getting torn apart. Watch your health there. Actually takes a while for the thing to kill you unless it knocks you off the railing, so that's good. Even though blue herb's normally used for healing, we're going to go ahead and take that shot there. Aiming up, firing, and getting whacked, firing, and there we go. Got it above the bulb where we wanted to. Had a good angle. See, I get up there, use the auto aim, then elevate the gun, wail away. You can't do much worse than I did there. But you know what? Even with some screw-ups, we killed the plant. Had plenty of health items that we picked up along the way. Didn't have to bring our own. And get the all-important key. There we go. That's going to enable us to open up just about everything else we need to. We're still going to need to get the emblem key at one point. Now, you can't go back to that door. Instead, we take the double doors out here. That'll enable us to get into other places we want to go and grab the emblem key as well, which will open up that last room. All right, here we go. So we look at our inventory. Like, holy cow, let's equip the right weapon this time since we just learned a valuable lesson on weapon equipment. So far, boss battle-wise, we've gotten bitten by the snake, slashed by the crimson, couldn't get the thing pushed into the shark tank, and got beaten up by the plant. And yet somehow we did, in fact, manage to get past all of them without croaking. So, you know, there's something. Moving along. And our pace at about 1 minute and 12 seconds, we're doing just fine. Through the door, back out here into the residence, and there's a cutscene. We're going to talk to Wesker there normally. Wesker, he wears sunglasses inside. That's right. At night. Sunglasses indoors at night. That's a double whammy there. We can run past that now because Plant 42 is dead. Hooray. And we're going to run down here and going to grab some blue herbs because there's a lot of poisonous things in this game. We're going to run by some snakes again. It's just good to have them. Back over here. Get in the save room. Since we just took care of a boss, it's never a terrible idea to do a little bit of item consolidation at all, and etc. Stop here at the box, drop some things off. You really shouldn't have to drop anything. I kind of want to keep those blue herbs, but maybe the master of unlocking, but not necessarily the master of item box management. We don't need the grenade launcher yet. Still conserving that for the chimeras as much as possible. And saving the game. Going to take a swig of ye old water here. Now we've switched over from Red Bull to water. There we go. And once again, we cut back in from where we did a save and load. Because I'd stepped away for a little while. Move along and opening the door to head on to the next part of the game. Okay, so grabbing an herb because we want something in case we get snake bitten. Out the door, and the snakes are actually going to be a little more aggressive this time. They're going to be in more spots than they were before. They're also going to be up by the pool. So we run along our way here, like up. This is where snakes were falling from the sky, but oh, mysterious pair of snakes. Where have they gone? The snake paratrooper core out. There's that plant we left. Didn't grab it before. Didn't hurt to have a red herb. And we've got space for it at the moment. Through the door. And there's going to be another snake ambush. I just wonder what these guys are. I mean, it was just like, hey, we want to bite somebody. I mean, they can't eat you. Why are they just like, I want to bite her? All right, you can get past the dog here without too much trouble. He barks in angry futility, crying out against the universe and how unfair it is. And again, if I was a dog with like meats, stapled to my body or whatever, I'd be unhappy too. Okay, so snakes, but no, that snake in front of me jumps out and bites me. Snakes over there in the bushes, so many snakes. Don't stop and check your status till you're down here. There's no reason to. And poisoned. So now just down at a caution. That's okay. We can live with that. Alright, so we're heading up here, and you want to make sure your gun's topped off. Again, the assault shotgun's handy at this part, but you can get away with the one that we have. Because we're about to encounter our first hunter. Hunters, if they get close enough to smack you, are ridiculously difficult. Again, we can run by these guys. As a matter of fact, not only can we run by them, but most of the time we can get away with grabbing the green herb and running by them. So we're going to do that. Head back through here, and hopefully we have enough empty item slots, because there's going to be several helpful new items that our friend Barry has left in here for us. I wonder where Barry is finding all this stuff and leaving it. We can't leave items laying around. You can't drop items in this game unless you want to discard them. But Barry seems to have that ability, so he must have a more complex inventory system. Maybe it comes from like that big red vest thing he wears. He's just got more pockets. I don't know. Absolutely do not miss these grenades. You are going to want them later in the game. Get those grenades. And the batteries, which will save you if a hunter jumps on your face sometimes. So hunters, yeah, leave that item for now. We're going to come back later and get it. Run through there to get past the dogs. Hunters run up and swipe at you. One of the best things about, or one of the keys to finding hunters is to shoot them and knock them down, and try to avoid shooting again. Okay, so there we screw up bad. I tried to do a lock-on and failed. Shoot them when they're standing. That's the key. Wait until they're standing. I actually fought that one pretty badly. Don't hit them when they're low, unless you absolutely have to. Shoot hunters while they stand up. So you knock one down, wait, hold your fire until one gets up. Now here there's going to be two back-to-back, so there's a little more just wailing away that goes on. But see, wait, fire, and it gets me when I don't wait till he's fully standing up. Right on the edge of death here. Still fully upright. There we go. We reload. Fire a final shot. Well, there we go. And we survive that encounter. And survive it fighting not particularly well against the hunters. Optimally, you can get through all these guys without getting wounded. So, because we're brave people, we know the zombies are not going to fool around with the hunters. We're actually walking by some healing items in that room. I decided not to stop and get them because I was a little worried about time. We are going to find a green herb right here, and as badly beat up as I am, that's pretty important to eat. If you're this badly wounded when you come through here, you really probably ought to stop and get the healing items in the room that we just walked by. But again, shoot hunters when they're down, or pardon me, shoot hunters when they're up. When they go down, wait until they're fully upright, fire again. And you can usually take care of them. Grenades are also effective against them, of course. What's really effective against them? Rocket launcher. And we're going to get a rocket launcher with unlimited ammo if we ever get all the way through this walkthrough. So we push the statue right here, and this way the walls can't squish us to death. So, yeah, if Luke Skywalker, Han Solo, and Princess Leia had had one of these, they would have never ended up in the trouble they did. And listen to me. Luke Skywalker, Princess Leia, Han Solo. Who am I leaving out here? Chewbacca. Chewbacca who celebrated, or pardon me, Chewbacca who took part in every single adventure those guys did, yet for some reason does not receive a medal at the end of that movie. That always struck me. Even when I was a kid, that bothered me. It's like, why doesn't Chewbacca get a medal? He did everything those guys did. He saved everybody. I don't know, man. Maybe just like, hey, you've already got a cool bandolier. You don't need a medal. I don't know. Yep. Anyway, grabbing the dagger here. Still wounded all to pieces. Hey, a deep dark hole we can't see into. Gonna jump down? Yep. And we're gonna grab this book, which we're not gonna need till much later in the game, but we want to pick it up now while we've got the opportunity. Alright, there's a basement of doom waiting down here below us. Gonna go down into the basement of doom. Pressing the switch. And yeah, deep dark ladder. How did anybody ever get anywhere in this house? You just think that people used to live here at some point. How do they ever hope to accomplish anything with this kind of design? Okay, spiders. Yep. Cutting there to the left. Yep, spiders. Spiders like to spit acid. They don't actually do much to you unless you stand still in front of them. But you can get poisoned if you're not careful. Now through here, there we go. Nice anti-poison stuff, and this is what we were holding out for, that red herb. You combine green and red, and you get full healing. We're going to combine those, and we're going to go from the teetering edge of death to just fine. So that's fun. Okay. 2 zombies here. And we're actually going to waste the ammo and take them out, because in this narrow corridor, they are... In this case, 2 shells each, which is actually, nope, 3 shells on this guy who blew his arm off, which is not all that effective. There's those guys, reload. Really not happy about the fact that I burnt 5 shells there. Okay, grab the dagger. Very good. We're down here because we want to store power to an elevator we need to get to. Now here's, at this end is the door that we're eventually going to go out. We're actually headed the wrong way. Run over. And there's the power we want to restore. And it's always fun to press electrical outlets when standing in water, especially after having just watched a giant shark get barbecued the same way. There's a lot of electrical problems in Resident Evil. And I think that the Spencer family really just should have sought out a better electrician. I think they'd have been happier if they had. Alright, so Jill heads down this particular tunnel. What will she find there? We're going to pop out, if I remember correctly, here in the kitchen. Yes, indeed. Okay, so there's a zombie at the far end of the room. There's also a dagger on the desk we want to grab. Yeah, there it is, far end. So we lure this guy out, grab the dagger, just stay out of his arms, use the table to avoid him. It's eating a little time, but lure him over. Best not to get the bite or have to expend the dagger. You end up using just as much time on the dagger animation as you use avoiding him. Down the elevator. Don't let yourself get there getting chased by a zombie very closely, because it takes the elevator a minute to get there. Alright. And down into this here hallway. And we can't skip that. Door opens. This doorway and hallway is actually hidden a little bit. It's kind of around here behind, and there is a guy waiting right there. And get cute and got around him. In this little closet, you want to come in here and have plenty of spare open space. If at all possible, you want to have at least 2 empty spots and your shells, because there's shells here. There's grenade rounds here, and you're going to want those grenade rounds. There's a battery in here, and you can never have enough batteries. Don't miss it there on the floor. And well, there's a little battery pack, and then there's a battery. There's the battery pack. You need that battery for an elevator you're going to start up. And you see we're actually full in our inventory here, but you want to get into that room with 2 empty slots and a shell slot, or 3 empty slots if you don't have any spare shells. Moving on. So, down to the end of the hall, unlocking it, open it up, and we're going to pop out in one of my least favorite places in the game, the mirror hall. We quickly dive for that door before the stupid zombies in there find us. I really just, that hall is too many opportunities to get bit in there. I do not like to go in. Oh, and there's a hunter. He's got another buddy on the balcony. And there we go. Alright, so we took care of him. Again. And you see, I didn't wait till he was fully up, and this is how he gets me. If I had waited till he was fully standing, I wouldn't have winged him. And he almost got me. Fortunately, I had a battery pack, which is why you have those things. But that first hunter, that's kind of how to take him out. And the second one, if I'd have waited a split second longer, he'd have never gotten the opportunity to jump on me. All So if we'd had the assault shotgun, the same thing. We'd have had 10 shots instead of 6 and not had to worry about reloading. Alright, back down this little familiar bit of territory for a second. And see that everything's clear here now. And we're going to head down to a familiar, relatively safe feeling place. Head down into the medical supply room where we grabbed our serum, where we've got a typewriter and an item box. So we've gathered already a lot of the things that we're going to need to move into the game's next phase down in the tunnels. But we've still got a little bit that we need to pick up. We need the red gem, which is located in a room just above us here. Notice we're dropping off the last book and we're kind of clearing our inventory out. We're keeping the battery. And we're grabbing an Equrim and going in here and saving. Keeping the battery because we're going to need it to move on to the next part of the game. We're also going to need the red gem. We're going to need a jewelry box that's hidden in a room across the way. We're going to need the emblem key so we can get in the study and get the other metal object. Okay, you see we did another load here, stepping back to the game. Dropping that off. So, red gem, which is up above us. And we're grabbing the grenade launcher because we're starting to worry a little bit about some of the nasty things we might run into. We're going to go ahead and drop some extra grenades in the launcher because the launcher can hold a lot of grenades of the same type. So we're going to use the high explosive rounds, which is what we have the most of, and just go ahead and feed those into the launcher so we only use a single item slot. We move on. Make our way back up the stairs, and this time we're going to go over here in a room we haven't gone in before because we didn't have the key until recently. Okay, so this little puzzle's irritating. In this room, first off, grab the dagger and the grenade shells that you're going to find in here. But the stupid eagle, if he's looking at you, you can't grab any of the gems that are embedded in the eyeballs of the two stuffed heads above. So you see these dressers. You can post the dressers to the stuffed heads. And you use, here let's hit the switch so we can see his annoying gaze. Oh yeah, we're going to go ahead and load the launcher while we're at it. We're only after the red gem because we don't have any interest in going to the tiger room at all for the speedier run through. So there's the yellow gem. We don't want to fool with that at all. Now I'm luring the eagle's gaze as far as I can. You hear kind of a clicking sound will happen if you do it right. We've already pushed this up. And very quickly grab it before that eagle turns around and sees it. So you push the dresser over, cross the room to draw the eagle's gaze, wait till he clicks, run back to the far end, climb up, and grab the gem as fast as you can. Then get out of the room. We won't be coming back there again. Why do you need the red gem? You combine that with the jewelry box that we're going to get here in a minute. Open that jewelry box up, which will reveal a puzzle, and we open that puzzle up to get a brooch, and we examine that brooch, and that turns into a key because video games. Yeah, but, it's fun. Alright, so hunters are gone from the balcony. We don't have to worry about them anymore. Earlier in the game, it's all about evasion and avoidance. You don't want to avoid contact with the zombies because they turn into stupid crimsons. Avoid the dogs because you don't want to waste the bullets, and because facing a bunch of dogs can actually be kind of a pain. When it comes to the hunters, if you're in a room with a hunter, just kill it if at all possible. There's one exception you'll see a little later in this walkthrough where we run from a hunter, but there's a very specific situation. The rest of the time you just want to shoot them to death as fast as you can because they're quicker than you are, and they do a lot of damage with a single blow, and they tend to be placed in locations that you simply have to go through. Fortunately, by the time you face hunters, the game's been pretty good about giving you the weapons you need to get rid of them. Okay, I didn't need to search for that ink ribbon. I'm not going to take it because I need the inventory slots. Alright, so there's a zombie in this room. There's a mirror trick when you first come in here. It's again, you probably seen this, since if you're trying to do a rocket run, it's probably not your first trip through the game, or you're missing the whole atmosphere and tone of the thing. Run over here, grab the jewelry box, and then I get greedy and try to grab the herb, even though I don't need it. Okay. Grab the dagger. I said the herb, it's the dagger. So I grab the dagger just in time to waste another item doing that and waste some time. I did not need to do it. It was a dumb decision. There's a bunch of blue herbs over there that I don't need right now. So I should have just left the dagger laying, and then I would have had the battery pack for later, but oh well. back through the door to the way we came, and down this hallway. We now have the jewelry box, and since there's no zombies in here, we can go ahead and deal with this irritating puzzle. Okay, so first off, jewel to box. Combine and open. Pieces fall off. Now, oh look, umbrella logo. How cute. Alright, so we have these pieces, and the problem is that the placing on these has to be really precise. They don't just snap nicely into place. You can see they kind of change size when they're roughly where the game wants them to be, but they don't snap cleanly like you'd expect a puzzle. It's really kind of awkward and annoying. So, like, even though I know that's the right spot, I'm playing around with the analog and I just can't quite get it right in there, and I waste so much time on this, which is irritating. But it's a little harder than it looks, just trying to get them where you want it. Alright, so I'm like, once again, I want this to go down here. Okay. I just sort of get it in there as much as I can. Third piece right here. And I'm like, oh, sure, logical. I'll just drop that in there. But no, I can't quite get it to fit. I'm like, there's so many seconds passing. So I'm sitting here yelling at my screen at this point when I was playing. It's like, why can't I get anything to move the way I want it to? I know I'm doing this right. At least this gives you an idea of the position of the pieces. You can gradually see it start to come together, and there's just some fine-tuning I had to do. If you're lucky, and I have done this quickly before, if you're lucky, sometimes you get them in the right spot the first time through. So I'm like, no, I know it goes there, but I'm not going to get it in. We're just going to place everything else, and then we'll just shift it as we have to. So I'm like, yep, okay, that works. So I'm like, well, ain't going to work. Shift everything a little bit to the left. Just a little bit. I goes like that, just a little bit. Okay. And then this top piece just a tiny bit. So much time. And yeah. Okay, and it's not going to work. Wait, nope, it dropped the little 1 pixel. There we go. Yeah, that puzzle stinks. Alright, now we have the brooch. We examine the brooch, and it turns into a key. If dog colors turn into keys, or no, if dog colors turn into imitations of keys, brooches can turn into keys. So after a really, really, really long time playing with a jewelry box, we finally succeed in getting where we wanted to go in the first place, and we have what we need to move on to the next room. So I get a little confused here for a second, kind of wandering around the lobby aimlessly, like, where am I going? I'm trying to remember what I'm trying to accomplish next. Because at this point in the game, you've been through most of the rooms. I'm like, okay, I'll run up here into the dining hall. Sure. There's the blue gem that we don't actually need laying on the floor over there. Head over this way. And we're going around and upstairs to the armor room area again, or the armor key room. We're going this way to avoid going through some of the narrow halls that irritate me. Yes, this does add a little bit of length to the trip, I realize, but it's worth it. So I take a look at these items and I decide to go ahead. I've got one herb in my inventory. I'm going to take another one and combine them. This actually doesn't prove to be specifically necessary based on what I'm going to counter up ahead. So where we're going now is to take care of Yawn Part 2. The snake still lives, and we want to go ahead and finish him off for good because he guards an item that we need to finish the game. Since we're already here in the mansion, we could come back later, but there's no reason to fool with coming back through this area. So let's go on up. And Yawn's room is actually on the far end of where we first got the armor key, where that blade trap is. Excuse me. At the end of that hallway, we run through here. There's another door that we never even saw because we didn't go far enough. And we're going to go up and fight him in the library. There's actually several herbs waiting up there with him, so I really didn't have to stop and grab all that I did before, but again, oh well. Move past this area, remember that. Walk up, step aside, and there we go. That's the door we want. We equip the grenade launcher. Now, I fought Yawn successfully with the shotgun, but the grenade launcher does work pretty well on him as well. And in this case, we could use acid rounds or HE rounds, so both work. I think I'm using HE rounds against him here. We stop and we're like, oh yeah, burning the key gave me another item slot, so we'll do those. We can combine those herbs too, and it doesn't hurt to have the herbs in the inventory anyway. I like to grab herbs when I got time and feel like I can pull it off. I take that one figuring I'm going to get wounded in the fight, and I can at least burn it and then make a space for the book that I'm here to get. Okay, here he comes. So if you're really, really hot stuff, you get 2 shots off at him up there and a couple more down here in the head and take care of him. I'm not that good. So instead, I'm going to use the classic kind of bookcase trick with him where he snaps. I take a shot at his head. Another shot there. And you just lure him around the bookcase. Don't fight him out in the open where he can wrap around you. Lure him around the case. Take shots at his head and tail as the opportunity arises. And there's 4. I think it usually takes about 10 shotgun shells to get him, depending where you hit him. And there's 5 grenades. And probably a way to do this quicker. He bit me there because I wasn't being careful. There's really not a lot of reason. So 7 grenades took him out that time. I could have done it quicker and more efficiently. More quickly and more efficiently. Quickly, quicker. Anyway. There's the book we're here for. He got a bite in on me. You saw my blood fly. But fortunately we have this herb to eat. There we are. Yum yum. Run past the big dead snake. Grabbing the book. There we go. Taking the book, moving on. So inside these 2 books that we gathered, the one when we jumped down the hole and the other one back there, are 2 medals. These medals are placed in a round pool late in the game, which will enable us to go down to the laboratory area, because laboratory entrances should be, you know, sealed by, I don't know. Again, weird video game logic. Nonsensical puzzles are a fun part of survival horror games, and I think it goes back to their survival horror games are closely related to adventure games, old text adventure games, graphical adventure games, where they share the scarcity of resources, searching for items, labyrinthine locations, and ease of death. You know, it's not like there's just a zillion enemies around. Instead, there's a few enemies, and they're all really dangerous. And most adventure games and survival horror games share that characteristic. But I guess the weird puzzles that don't make any sense kind of come from that same school of thought. I can't grab that. Wasted a little time there. But and of course there were horror games that were set in that adventure type mode. I mean, there's the comedy horror game Maniac Mansion, which Resident Evil shares more common with than you'd think. And then there's old text adventure games, like I think it's The Lurking Horror, where you're wandering around the tunnels underneath the university, stuff like that. A few other things, but it's a neat characteristic of the genre. This just, you know, medals and secret passages and things that make no sense. Stuff that goes all the way back to Zork, really. Which is fine. So we're making our way back, going the long way again, through this main lobby. And we're headed this time to get the second metal object, to open the doors that we need to get down to the altar that are going to eventually give us access to some of the final game content. We've already got 1 metal object with a stone ring that's still sitting outside, keeping a door unlocked. We're going to be able to retrieve that later. We're going to have to get a second metal object and a second stone ring to go around it. That metal object is in the study that we're heading for now, which is downstairs over here. And once we get that second metal object, we're going to grab the stone ring down in the tunnels later on, which is in Lisa's lair. So we head along through this door. This is familiar territory. And we've already killed the hunters that were waiting here, so we're good there. We run downstairs and discover that some kind soul, if I remember right, it's Chris, has fixed the doorknob for us. And we're going to go ahead and stop here for a second at ye old item box and get ready for the next part of where we're going and what we're doing. Alright, so we take a peek in the box. We're like, well, all these herbs may come in handy later in the game. We're not going to need either of the books until way late, so we can drop those off. We are going to need the battery. We're not going to need the launcher for a little while. Go ahead and keep the weapon, because why not? Just running around making sure there's nothing. And we are going to want the crank, which we haven't used in a long time. So, ground. Then I run back here because I'm like, you know what? Let's save. So I come over here, use the ribbon, and move on to save the game. And saving a little too much, but when you're trying to, make one of these videos, you don't want to screw up too badly. And away we go, without a reload or anything. So back down here to where the doorknob is repaired, out into that same hallway where we encountered the first hunter. Head out into the hall, and now that we have the emblem key, we can open this door. We throw the key away and head on through the door. You got to turn the lamp on in the desk of this room for some reason, which is a really weird little twist. I guess because when you don't know what's going to happen, it's a little jarring. Like, oh, something's going to come through that window and eat my face. I'm going to flip the lamp on, something's going to happen. I do remember playing Resident Evil 2, especially when I was in college, with a group of people, friends. We'd go over to their house every Sunday night for a month, and we'd turn all the lights off, they had a big stereo system in the living room, turn it way up, and we'd just sit crouched in a little group, huddled in front of this couch. And usually I steered, but all of us were playing. We'd solve the puzzles together. We weren't using guides or facts or anything like that. And just sit there and scream when something unexpected happened. It was delightful fun. I remember at least one occasion where in terror I threw the controller up in the air when something happened and lost it. And just about sealed by doom. So there's the second, or there's the first metal object, the one that we will be using later in the game, but we can't take it yet, or we won't be able to get where we need to go. Back through here, back through the double doors. There's a lot of backtracking in this game, and which is smart because they find ways to make areas scary. Every time you come through, a new threat may emerge. All right, there's the stupid dogs again. Going around the dogs, going back to the pool, and we're going to change things here at the pool again. All right, so heading down. What we want to do this time is reroute the course of things. All right, heading down. Run along. We're like, wait a minute, what's going on? First, we've got to go place the battery. I was thinking about filling the pool, but then I was like, wait a minute, I forgot something. Now, here's where I screw up. For all the things that I thought I'd done to prepare right, even though I have plenty of reserved blue herbs, I forgot to bring some. And there I am running through Snake Land. So when you come here, friends, bring your blue herbs. Don't be like me, because otherwise you can end up poisoned, and that's not what you want to happen when you're trying to get through a difficult part of the game. You can place this battery here without having to kill the dog. Head on to the elevator. He's like, hey, you got in an elevator and got away from me. How'd you do that? You ride back up. So yeah, if you're coming through here, either grab the blue herb next to the dog or bring your own. Alright, so we're going to just annoy this dog by running by him. He's like, hey. And what we're going to do here is cut down to this door and reset the dogs. Now, I waste a little bit of time, but it's better than wasting the shells or the bite, in my opinion. We're coming in at now about an hour and 44 minutes, and our pace is doing just fine for finishing the game. We run right by there. Now, why did I run by it instead of grabbing it? Because even though a snake reached out and bit me, he didn't succeed in poisoning me, because some of that appears to be randomized, and he didn't actually get me. But if he had, I'd have been really screwed if I hadn't had my blue herb that I didn't bring along. So when you go, good friend, bring a blue herb into that area. Yeah, gotta face that thing. Yeah, it's where you have to stand to do this. I love this game, but I'm just like, are you kidding me? I want to use the item. So there are several seconds of my time that I can never have back again. So that I would make the world's worst speedrunner. I just don't have the patience to memorize routes. I have a great deal of admiration for guys who do speedrunning. They're amazing. Really cool to watch. But last time I looked, I think the world record for this part was somewhere in the 1 hour and 30 somethings for this particular run through, which is just absolutely insane, considering all the things you have to pull off to make this work. Alright, back around again. Angry dog, other angry dog. But we get to the elevator, get by them, back down, and now the waterfall is drained because we used the crank there. So this guy's like, hey, I smell trouble. And he comes around, alright, and chase him around. Up, 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 up. Do-si-do. And down the hallway to the ladder. Comes the dog ominously behind me, but dogs can't climb ladders. If you're a velociraptor, he'd probably learn to construct his own jetpack to get down the ladder, but oof, yeah. Super intelligent dinosaurs. Terrifying. Alright, here we are, a little save room here. Well, what he said, hey look, there's an ink ribbon. Will you take it? Yes. Will you save your progress? Yes, I will. Then we'll save here. Stopping off, saving content. Successful. And walk over and check your item box again. Alright, dropping some things off. Don't need that crank anymore for a very long time. As a matter of fact, I don't know if we use it again anymore at all, if I remember correctly. Yeah, I think we're done with that crank. Now we're going to use the hex crank quite a bit down here, which we're going to get in a minute. Alright, so grabbing that launcher with the incendiary rounds. That's important. We're going to face Black Tiger here a little bit, which is a spider. And 2 incendiary rounds rapidly delivered will take Black Tiger down. So it's really good to have him with a grenade launcher. If I remember correctly, on this run through, he gets a bite in on me, and I'm not sure why. I've usually been able to just snap 2 ones right off at him and take him down. But I don't know if it's a random number thing or what, but he actually gets a bite in on me. Okay, so there's handgun magazine here on the edge, and it doesn't hurt to grab that. If you want to do the systematic clearing of the lab that we do later on, having those is not a bad idea. Like having those extra bullets so that I can save shotgun shells. So, yeah, go ahead and grab them. Alright, through this room is a cutscene. This is where you're going to get the hex crank. You skip the cutscene. Right after you grab the hex crank, a hunter's going to show up. And this is the one time in the game that I recommend running from a hunter, because you can get by him and save your ammunition, and you never have to come back to this room again, so there's really no reason to fight him. So you come up here, he runs out, you can just get right around him, and he chases you, but by the time he's halfway to you, you're already through the door. So yeah, there's save a few rounds there. Don't bother fighting him. Now, in the passageway we've already come through, we're eventually going to run into more hunters, and those we are going to have to kill. Again, you can use grenades on hunters. Some of the situations where you face 2 hunters, it's especially nice, but do alright with shotgun shells. Here we are. Okay, so here we are. Knocked him down. Knock him down. And knock him down. There we go. That's how you do it right. That's what I should have been doing every time. And you can pull that off most of the time. There's a big boulder, Indiana Jones boulder, false alarm. That's going to come get us later on, or one like it. So, bum-ba-da-ba, bum-ba-da. It's just such a neat trap, you know? You think about someone just sitting there like, thinking, in 2,000 years, someone will come to this hallway and I will squish them. And it's sitting like, ha 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 ha. Alright, so here's where we use the hex crank. We're equipping the launcher for when we face Black Tiger. Using the hex crank, finally getting lined up in the right spot. There we go. Alright, got that corridor turned around. That is one powerful, simple machine right there. You can accomplish a lot with simple machines. I always forget them all. I remember the wedge. That herb we're going to come back and grab later on, if I remember correctly. I'll come back through here to the save room. Alright, so into this hall. And we're going to come up this passage. Trigger the stone. I'm trying to trigger the rock to chase me. There, you got to get a little too close. Alright, here it comes. Just run back to the passage that you came through. You do not get a lot of time to do that. Cutscene triggers, and Jill's like, man, I'm really, really, really glad that I'm agile. Come back up the passage where the stone rolled down, and there's some shotgun shells. Why did someone hide shotgun shells behind a giant rock? That one I love. I just like, how did that happen? I don't know. Just maybe we, I don't know, to roll aside on the third, I don't know. Just about to do an Easter morning joke that made no sense. Anyway, alright. Moving on. There he is. Okay, so here comes Black Tiger. Now, again, normally, the moment I gain control of Jill, just 2 quick shots takes him out. But he's actually going to be able to barrel over me and do some damage here. Yep, look at there. Right on top of me. And it's a little hard to get stood up and aim. Then this guy, I miss. My auto aim screws up. Alright, finally, 3rd shot gets him. Now, run back through the door that you first came through when this happens. Even if you're badly wounded like I am. Why? Because that clears the rest of the spiders from the room. And you can just turn around, run right back. And the spiders are gone. Now, I am badly, badly wounded and poisoned. I do not want to die. Run over and look. Handy survival knife provided. It's almost as if you're about to need this item that's useless through my... Oh, wait! There we are. And useless, that's not true. A truly skilled player can do amazing things with the knife, up to and including killing bosses. But for most of the rest of us, this is probably the only time we're ever going to use the knife. Clear through this door. There we are. It's like Sting. It's like Frodo using Sting to escape the lair of Shelob. When the blade of Numenor that Samwise carried could not cut the spider thread, Sting, which was forged in Gondolin, was able to do so. And there's a little bit of Lord of the Rings fun for you there. Alright, so no longer completely dead, merely on the cusp. I think I actually left a map behind there, but you don't really need it. Alright. Through this door. And moving on. And Jillian heads along. She's about to encounter another big rock. Like, this is suspicious. It's, why, look, big rock. Using the hex crank. And you gotta use it 3 times here to do this. Why do you have to use the hex crank 3 times? I don't know. I mean, it's not like you have another option. That's what it takes to make it happen. 3rd turn. Rotate it. It gets ominously close. And there we go. Reveals a passageway. Here comes a rock. Da 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 da. Through that passage. Just like, man, I am really, really tired. I have had a rough night. Alright, she heads up here and discovers that behind this rock, a first aid kit has been hidden. So, yeah, I don't even know, man. The stone was rolled away. And first aid spray. And Jill's like, you know what? This is a handy recovery item. I'm going to use it. Heading along here to one of the more tedious puzzle rooms in the game. So in this room, what we have to do is get the statue to emulate the position of the... Yeah, see, there's one statue up against the wall, and there's an alcove this one obviously goes into. So we've got to turn it around and get lined up in the correct vertical and horizontal path. So we put it next to that kind of pinkish orange rock over there. Use the hex crank yet again, which pushes it out just a little bit, which means we can now maneuver it into place awkwardly. So that little circle thing in the middle of the room, anything you put on that will rotate 90 degrees every time you push it on, including you, which is kind of amusing. You know, do 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 do. And pushing here with the new controls, I actually do get a little lost trying to do this correctly. All right, there we are. Rotate it around. Now I got to push him off. Oh, not quite all the way. So much time being wasted. Oh, do 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 do. Okay, yep. Back around. And once again, pushing. And there we go. Do do. Gonna push it off there. And this time, not gonna stop on the rock. There we go. Save a little time there. And it's like, I want to be in the correct position. Cannot tell. And 3 pushes there. Finally got about lined up. All this so whoever created this chamber and kept all the candles and torches lit could hide a piece of machinery. That's right. Granted, it's creepy, gothic, anachronistic machinery, but it's machinery nonetheless. Alright, here we go. Opening the door. There will be no getting on the floor. There will be no walking of the dinosaur, however. Alright, there past the big rock. Jill's still got her knife in hand. She's feeling tough. Running along here through this next. And we're backing up. We're about to go back to annoy Lisa down at the bottom of the elevator because we've got the part that we need to open the elevator shaft. We go past the spider room again. Keep on going. So we went back to that elevator that we first encountered near the hunters. Run over there, head down that hole. You're going to encounter Barry and some cutscenes that we're going to skip there. And then we're going to go through the Lisa section of the game. And again, Lisa can't be killed by conventional means. And she does punch pretty hard. She's slow, but you don't want to get close to her if you can avoid it. Go ahead and grab the herb there because we're running by item boxes, and why not? So drop a bunch of unnecessary items off. Not going to need the hex crank anymore. Go ahead and drop that off. You might need it later in the game. Not going to need those magazines for a while. Maybe never need them, but we have them. Went ahead and grabbed them. That probably wasn't necessary, but oh well. And not going to need the launcher for a little bit. Really, I could just drop all my weapons at this point, and maybe should have. And made a dumb hand crank decision there. I do take the metal object, even though I'm going to have a chance to grab it later on. I go ahead and take the books. I'm really probably planning a little ahead here. Probably a little too far ahead, but like, you know what? Let's go ahead and get the metals out of the books, because that does take a little while. So grab those. We're still a few minutes away from actually getting down into the labs, but I'm going to go ahead and get them out. Go. So you see what we have here now. We are taking the metal object, both of these metals, with the cylinder. We really do need that. Not sure why I took the crank there. I think I got confused. Well, alright, so we're heading along this way, back toward the elevator. Gonna encounter Barry. Again, the only enemy down the hole at this point is Lisa, who we can't hurt with weapons. That's why we're not worrying about any artillery now. Come along here. Now, not only do we need to combine the shaft and the cylinder over by the elevator to activate it, there's also a little code we've got to enter, and fortunately that code is consistent. It's not randomized by the game, so we're always going to be able to enter the right thing. So you're going to take the cylinder out of here. You see we left a spare slot to put it in. We combined, or pardon me, take the shaft out. Combine the shaft and the cylinder, And then what I'm really tempted to do is the dark helmet thing. Just 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Even though there's only 4 of them. Put it in there. A series of flashing buttons. Press 1. Yes. Which button will you press? And I screw up. I'm like, oh crap, I hit 1. So very quickly, 1, 1, 1, 1. And there is like 30 seconds of game time I'll never get back on the run. So there's a mistake. So once again, use the shaft. This time we're going to enter the correct code, which is 4, 2, 3, 1. There we go. 4, 2, 3, 1. 4, 2, 3, 1. Not 4, 3, 2, 1. 4, 2, 3, 1. That's the number 42, followed by the number 31. 42, the answer. And here's the elevator. Heading on down. Okay. The elevator here. Skip a nice cutscene. Heading down into the dark. And now we're down at the tunnel level. We've got Barry from the... Yep. It's like, Barry. Alright, so here I'm like, wait, I should be skipping this. There we are. Through the doorway. And, alright, so here's a little trick. Lisa shows up whichever way you break first, whichever way you cut up here. That's where she's going to pop. So you want to break left. Get up here. There she is. Now go right. And the reason you want to do that is the room you're after. Ignore that switch for a while. You don't need to pull it yet. Alright, down here. There's some herbs and stuff. Not a bad idea just because she can tear you up with a single hit. Why do I have the crank? Alright, so let's see. Get back up here through this door. Now, I do waste some time again in this room because I remembered that there were ammunition and stuff on top of this crate in the room that we're about to head into. And there's a big pile of boxes over on this end. I remember, and I was like, I was trying to remember there were shotgun shells or grenade shells up there. So I went to take a look, wasting time. Turns out that there were magnum shells, which are awesome. There's also a battery, which is always nice to have, so I grab it, but really not worth going up there on this kind of quicker run. The time just wasn't worth the effort. So there's a place you can shave some time off. Also, running the right way in the cave, which is past the boxes. And what we want to do is push this big crate thing onto the elevator and send it away. Inside that crate is a broken flamethrower. We're going to eventually backtrack, go to the place where we can get to a compactor to smash this box to get the broken flamethrower, which we can then pull a lever to create a hook to hang the flamethrower on so that we can escape from, yeah, right, because that's just makes a lot of sense. Why we don't just ride along with the crate, I don't know. But we hit the button. And Lisa's area is actually kind of a big circle. So whichever way she comes from, we can just run the other way and eventually we'll get back to where we need to get. In this case, we're headed back to the elevator that Barry and Jill rode down a few minutes ago. So we come down here. Let's see. Yep, there's Lisa coming up the stairs. Okay, that's great. We can go back exactly the way we came in then. That works fine. There's that switch. We don't have to worry about it yet. Down here, back to the elevator and opening the door. I'm going to run by an item box here where we could have done some of the switch offs that we oh, there goes Barry. He's abandoning us. Oh, Barry, you're so conflicted. Yep, there we are. Down the ladder. I should have just run right into the elevator and started pushing. I do not know why I ran around. I already knew what was over here. And then I'm like, oh, I'll run the right way. So there's, 5 seconds that could have had. And again, those seconds add up, so you want to be careful with them. I mean, we ended up finishing this with about 18 minutes to spare, but it could easily have been much more. And if we'd have run into trouble someplace else, you save 5 seconds 12 times, you saved a minute. Alright, pushing it down here into the compactor. More exciting box pushing. Pressing the button. Yep. Compacting that garbage so that we can get a broken flamethrower to hang on some hooks. I think that of all the weird nonsense puzzles in the game, this is probably the strangest. Just why we're hanging flamethrowers on hooks to open doors. And why we have to go to a trash compactor to break a box to get a broken flamethrower to hang on hooks to open doors. It's just weird. But, you know, it doesn't take away from the fun. It's just kind of bizarre. And so I've really enjoyed playing through this game, actually. Playing it fast like this is odd. It strips out a sense of dread. But again, this isn't really by the time you play one of these games for the second or third time, dread is far less of an important issue anyway than it was before. And really, at that point, playing more for the experience of just seeing what you can get away with and maximize. Alright, so back up here to Lisa's area. She's still lurking. Cut left again. We do that so that we can run to the right and hit this switch, which is going to create the hook that we hang the flamethrower on, which is going to allow us to open a door to get out of the circular area. So we come down here, run down these stairs, just past Lisa. There's the hook. We screw up a little bit and try to use the flamethrower. There we go. Open the door, and voila! We have escaped, for the time being at least, from Lisa's clutches, but it's not the last we're going to see of her. Alright, so here's creepy room full of dolls. Yeah, because now when you hit this water, gun it. Gun it, gun it, gun it, because stupid snakes with stupid poison. Oh, I hate the snakes so much. Then, you to this room. Do not let them chase you. Just run over here, grab the jewelry box, and get up that ladder. Okay, so jewelry box, get. There we are. Okay, yep. And we open it up, and finally, we locate the ring. There we go. We take the stone ring, we combine it with the metal object, and we've got the second stone ring and metal object that we need to get down to the altar in the doors that are underneath the big stairs in the main room of the mansion. We haven't even looked at them in this walkthrough because we know where they are. And you know what? Hey, look. Stuff. I'm going to take a blue herb. Yeah, why are we doing that? We're just going to combine herbs here. We probably didn't need to do that. At this point, we're pretty good on our healing objects. Healing is less important at this stage because we're not going to have to fool with Tyrant. We're going to have Barry's Magnum because we're going to let Barry die. And Barry's 44 will take Tyrant down usually in a single shot. So once you knock him down the first time, and with Barry and Chris just both left behind, Tyrant does not burst onto the helipad. Because of that, you don't need nearly as many healing items because the game's final boss fight doesn't really happen. It's the same reason we don't really end up needing the Magnum, is because we don't have anything to pound Tyrant with in the other fights where we don't have Barry's Magnum. We don't have our, you understand what I mean. Since we let Barry die and take his Magnum, we don't need the less powerful Magnum that we use in conjunction with Barry to fight Tyrant. There we are. Alright, back down the path. Once again, now there's a zombie down here a little way. We go around the tree to avoid him. And there's a second zombie added to the graveyard. Don't run into his arms. Just run along the path here. No reason to shoot anything. And run through the graveyard here in a second. We'll be like, R.I.P. Magnum, miss you. Don't worry, we're going to get Barry's awesome gun. So Barry's Magnum, you only has the ammo that it is loaded with when you take it from him. But you're really not going to have to make many shots with it. You can run from the chimeras after you first shoot Tyrant. If you do get trapped in a corner or in a place where you just need to kill some, I mean, it just makes mincemeat of anything. It's kind of a super weapon. So we head up here now. Back up the hill. And we're going to come to this familiar shed up the top of the hill. And we're going to go through the metal door in the shed. And as soon as we go through that door, we're not going to have to go back this way ever again. Which means we're going to be able to take the second stone and metal object from the place where we laid it originally to open this door. So there we go. Through here. And it'll be up in its alcove just past this door. We grab it. We run to make sure no canine type thing tries to eat us. we go. Got both of these, and by placing those in the doors under the stairs, we can head down to the altar and our last confrontation with Lisa. So here we go. Back in the mansion, we've cleared the hunters out of the paths we'll be taking. So no particular need to go back through there. I didn't want to deal with the zombies in the hall or any of that junk. I can't remember if they're there anymore, but we're just going to go this way. We've already cleared it out, and it only adds a few seconds. We know at this point that at just under 2:10, we've got plenty of time. So we're going to run along here. The lab section only takes about a half an hour to clear out with the bad ending. It is possible to get the good ending in 3 hours. Honestly, even at the... Oh, man, what a jerk. I finally ran into him. So, but even at... don't forget this guy, because he wasn't there before, and I let myself forget him. He pops out of a door on a previous trip through this hallway, and I just plain forgot about him, ran right into him, let him bite me in the back, where I can't use a defensive item, and get wounded going down to the lab, which is really irritating. So don't forget about that guy when you go down. And it's worth the shotgun shell if you need to use it, just to get past him. Although ammo can get tight down here. Chimera's one explosive shell at point-blank range you'll use to take a Chimera out, but the acid shells are actually a little less effective against them. Incendiaries will work, but you want to try to save your incendiaries for killing zombies down here. The reason is because you're going to get to the nitroglycerin part where you have to carry the nitro, and firing almost any weapon or running while carrying the nitro causes you to blow up. So you're going to want to clear the path completely of everything that might cause you any trouble along that route. And while you're doing that, that means that every time you kill a zombie, you got to burn it. Otherwise, it's going to be a crimson when you come back through, and then you have crimsons running at you while you're carrying nitroglycerin. You really don't want that to happen. So there's actually kind of a systematic tedium. Now, again, there are speed run ways to get through this, but rather than learn the skills that it takes to do that, there's plenty of time to get it the very first try, just going through, shooting dudes, and burning them. And you do that with a combination of kerosene, and there's a nice kerosene tank available for those purposes, and incendiary rounds. We're going to have several incendiaries already, and we're going to have extra shells that we find down in the pit. I really hate that I used 3 against Black Tiger. It's nice to have 4 instead of 3 when you get down to the labs. I know that seems ridiculous, but that single shell can cause a little bit of difficulty. Fortunately, we pull it off. Okay, so there's a cutscene. We do not give the gun back to Barry. Do not give Barry his gun in this scene if you want to do this the easiest way. Because if Barry is with you, you're going to have to deal with more stuff up on the runway. Also, you're not going to have his magnum. Alright, so when it comes to Lisa here, you don't have to grab the gun right away. Okay, just hop around. Lisa's going to get upset. Keep that between you and her. She'll jump eventually, but she kind of has a wind up to her attack. Just concentrate. And here I realized, I'm going to go ahead and grab it while I got a chance. Don't waste shells on her. It's not worth the trouble. Let her get mad. Okay, slip by. If she gets a hit in on you, she gets a hit in on you. Trying to get knocked off or anything. Alright, that moves. The moment you knock those 4 things down, Lisa's no trouble for you. She's finally got what she needs. It's like, there we go. And then she jumps in a hole. And there we go. So Barry's gone, Lisa's gone, and we can move on out here, take the elevator, ride it up, and we're going to find this kind of round pool, and this is where we're finally going to use the eagle and the wolf medals. And for some reason I checked this door here. I don't know why. You can't go through it. Located here is I believe this is the eagle side. Why did I run by it? Yeah. Well, that's a waste of time. Yeah, that's the eagle side. So we place the eagle in the hole. And come around here. And place the wolf in the other hole. Still wondering why I had the crank. Oh well, didn't need it. Now, we've been really conservative with our grenades up to this point. But from here on out, incendiary grenades exist to be used on zombies. High explosive grenades exist to be used on chimeras. Now, here's the scariest thing that happened during this whole process for me. Resident Evil can be a scary game. But my capture equipment started failing for a second here. I saw the game starts to slow down for a second in a few of these frames, and I realized that something was wrong with it, and I was going to lose my entire capture, and I became terrified. So I actually had a moment of true horror here, especially right here, where I'm like, I need typewriter ribbon, and I didn't see the one on the floor. So I go here looking for a ribbon, and I'm scrolling, and it's slow, and I'm like, I'm going to lose the take and have to do all of this again. I grab the ink ribbon, and I'm so slow. Don't completely crash. And then at last, run. Don't fail me. So, and the typewriter interface up here, please. And there it is. Oh, such horror. Use the ink ribbon, yes. And then loading content. Do not turn off PC. I'm like, am I going to make it? Am I going to make it long enough to reset my equipment? Little blood splotches over in the corner. Oh, this is true terror. This is terror. And then I couldn't get the analog to click down where I wanted it to. So I didn't overwrite the wrong file. And hit save. Waiting to see if anything responds. Waiting for the PC to crash. Overwrite. I'm like, do not turn off. Save 6. And there was joy. So, and cut out. Reset everything. And now it all works. So, yay. Made it. And boy, that was frightening because I did not want to screw that up. Okay, we're leaving the Magnum because we're not going to need that until the final sequence. Taking the empty canteen and the lighter. Taking the launcher, which is already, I'm pretty sure, loaded with incendiaries. Yeah, it is. Taking the acid rounds. Taking the grenade shells. And I think I might actually be a little overloaded. Yeah. Okay, so I switch out for a little bit with the other grenades. Don't need those ribbons on the floor. You see I've probably collected too many ribbons in the game, so let's save a little time on your particular run-through by not using quite as many of them. Load this up. There we go. A little extra fuel for the fire. If I hadn't examined that, I could have saved a few seconds. Alright. So here we go. Killing the zombies. Killing the ordinary old mundane zombies. Because they gotta die. There we go. That one there on the stairs. And this guy. Alright. Now we're gonna burn him. So we burn this guy. This is using a lot of time. Again, you do not have to do this, especially in this upper corridor, but you do really want to do it downstairs. And honestly, if you've got the time, do it here too, because when you're running back through at the end of the game, the last thing you want to have to do is deal with these guys. Come back up here, refill in the canteen. Moving back, burning stairway guy. Coming on over here. A lot of body burning. Okay, now getting the right position on these stairs is actually a little difficult. You just have to stand on top of it from below. Also, don't forget to back up when you do this, or you will get burned by your own kerosene. So I run over here. Can't get through that door yet. Just run around looking. I'm like, okay, well, can I top off my kerosene for the guys downstairs? Because I've got to clear that hall out, but there's none left. So I'm like, okay. So I got 1 dose of kerosene. I got 3 incendiary rounds. I know I've got to clear the guys out of the main hallway down here, but I also remember that there's one zombie in the lab where I grabbed the nitro, and I'm going to have to kill him too. So I'm either going to have to wipe him out. Oh, no, I don't need an ammo disc because I'm not risking Chris. No reason to waste the inventory spot. So I'm counting here, and I'm like, I wonder if I've got enough to take care of these guys. The incendiaries will burn any zombies I shoot with them, generally speaking. Like, am I going to have enough to clear the entire route? When I'm carrying the nitro, I don't want to fight anybody or run from anybody. So, come on down here. Line up, get close to be sure I hit. Burn that guy. And here, where things get a little difficult. I know there's a dude around the corner here, and I line up the shot, and I don't know if he just doesn't go down or what. Never have quite figured out exactly what happens there. But I come back and he's still there, or another zombie's there. I think it's him. So I get a clear shot against him this time. But now I'm down to only the canteen. So I'm like, annoying. But I've got just enough. However, I let myself forget as I come back over here that the room that I'm going to go into and kill this guy is locked. And until I do some other things, I'm not going to be able to get to that room. That's the one right here on the right. I'm like, oh yeah, that's right. I've got to go to the computer. So I actually waste several seconds here. Then I try to pick up this medical box, which actually ends up causing me problems too because my inventory is so full. But that's a lesson I learned here in a second. So there's actually a bit of waste that goes on in that sequence, and when you go through there, you don't have to fool with that and be more efficient. Just make sure you got enough left to burn that last zombie in that room one way or another. Fortunately, when you go to that room, if I remember right, that's where you're going to find your incendiary rounds, and because of that, you'll have less difficulty. There's some magnum bullets you're not going to need. So skip those. Run over here, use the computer. Okay, so we already know all the info that we need for this. The username, the login is John. The password is Ada, A-D-A. Here we are, A-D-A. We hit enter, accessing. Yep, it's like some Linux or something. Okay, so we open on that one. The password to open that room is cell, C-E-L-L. So we type in cell, C-E-L-L. There we go. Room's unlocked. Now we go through interface menus and take a look at, open the other room while we're at it. Let's go ahead and unlock everything. Finally, we cancel out of the system, and we want to answer yes, not no. I'm going to waste a second there. Okay, back out of here. We've done what we need to do in this room. We've now unlocked the door upstairs, near the top of the stairs, and we've unlocked the door that we just examined that we know has the zombie inside that we want to make sure is dead. So, we could have actually... Here we are. I'm going to go through here. And we're going to get a little bit of a lucky break here. It's not... We're okay anyway. But as we open this door and take care of him, I was all worried about saving enough kerosene to burn him. And you should be. But every now and then, when you take a shot in this game, you get a random result that is this. Oh, wait, no, never mind. I do have to burn him. That's another guy that popped us in. Oh, no, okay, there we go. I do burn him. Okay, never mind. Hey, don't listen to me. I thought his head popped, but I was remembering wrong. So there you go. If you pop their heads, they don't turn into crimsons, but that's later on. Alright, so I don't need that MO disc recorder, and I don't need to waste time coming over here looking for it. So there's some seconds off. Don't need that note over there, but I do want those incendiaries. Why? Because there's another hallway with zombies in it that I'm going to want to burn for my nitrous run to be safe. Also, it's just good to have more ammunition anyway. In addition to the hallway I cleared downstairs, and the hallway I cleared upstairs, and the hallway we're coming through here, there's another hall we're going to go to eventually between the boiler room and the lab where we get the nitroglycerin, and there are two zombies in that hall. And that task of completing the trip with the nitroglycerin power is much easier if those two zombies are also cleared out. Meanwhile, we're going to back up the stairs. We're going to get the key to the laboratory to get to some of the other rooms that we need to get to. So we run back up here, and this is where we've cleared all those zombies out. Don't have any crimsons to worry about. And actually decide to do a little inventory backtracking because we have the time to pull it off. With a little better planning, this probably wouldn't be necessary. But here we go. We're at about 2:24 and a half right now. Still got plenty of time. We're rapidly approaching the end of the game, but we're going to drop these off. Actually, you know what? It's a good idea to drop this off, yeah. So there's no way to film. Oh, and there we have a visitor. We can see that someone's playing Dota 2 right now. Heading on here and over and into the laboratory. Not too much to do here, but we do need to grab that lab key. We're not worrying about watching Kenneth's videotape or any of that. So right over here on this wall. Oh, accidentally grabbed the MO disk. Don't want it. Don't pick it up. There we are. Passcode entry terminal. Alright, we're going to enter the passcode, and once again, this is consistent between games. 8462. That's 8462. That always works. Always opens the door. There we go. We can grab the first aid spray if we want it, but we're running back here and getting the lab key first. There's some shotgun shells on that shelf. It doesn't hurt to have them. I don't really think at this point you're going to need them. I grab them and spend a little time grabbing them that you might not have to. Also grab the spray, which does create inventory issues later on if I remember right, but oh well. So we have a lot of different kinds of grenade ammunition now. It's questionable whether or not you even need the shotgun, but you don't want to run out of bullets down here. But you may not even want a single fully loaded one might be enough. Actually, yeah, it's good to have it. All right. So coming around this corner, we're going to run into those aforementioned zombies that, again, we want to make sure we burn so we can clear the route. We are avoiding all the MO disk stuff, which would normally take more time and also result in some more chimeras showing up. So we're going to come through here, and these are the dudes that we want to toast with incendiary rounds. So we've been saving our incendiaries the entire game for clearing out this area. This is why we only use them on Black Tiger up until now. There we go. And roasted. And even though this guy's avoidable, I like to roast him too because it just makes the next part easier. Okay, we have now toasted every zombie that needs toasting. We're now going into the boiler room. And here's where we're going to run into chimeras. Chimeras are fast and they can get under your gun, so you kind of want to shoot them point blank. When I went through this, I was under the impression that acid rounds were going to be fairly effective against them, but really you do better with these guys with incendiaries and explosives. I missed him that time. HE rounds point blank will just flat waste a chimera. Also, sometimes you can't tell they're dying for a second. Now, it's possible to just run down there, grab the thing, and run back, but again, if you run down every path in this room, every nook and cranny, especially if you go out the door and back in, I've had luck with this, it does waste a little time. But running through every nook and cranny and just letting every chimera in this room ambush you now saves any chance of trouble when you're hauling the nitro. And because the time exists to do it, why not? So there we go. There's one block in the way. He wasn't there before. He's going to come up here. We're going to aim up. Oh, he grabs us. Going to do the little zappy animation. There we go. Okay. He's zapped. Shoot him down. Make him dead. There we go. That could have happened to us while holding nitroglycerin in other circumstances. So, best to clear him out. It's down the middle row. There we go. Boom. Down the middle row. Boom. There we go. Just running around, wasting a little time, making sure the chimeras in this room are dead. Looks like they're all gone. Okay. So that's probably a little too much time wasted, but now you know what to look for and where they're all going to be. Come over here. And actually, we're going to do a bit of a problem because we go through all this text, which takes a lot of time, and discover that, yep, don't actually have any spare stuff. So in the end, burn a healing item to make space, but wow, that was a lot of time wasted for all those messages. Have to watch them all again. So if we had left an empty spot for this, this wouldn't have happened. So upstairs, grabbing the first aid spray or having this the item box not dropped off would have been a mistake. We got the capsule, but it doesn't have any fuel in it, so we can run. We run back through here. Now, if you want to, you can drop off in this room off to your right and save, because this whole process is a little bit dangerous where you're walking with a nitro. It's possible, especially with the new controls, it's actually a little difficult to walk. You get so used to running because the new controls allow you to run all the time, where the original game made running a little more ponderous. The tank controls a little difficult to pull off. So it's difficult to throttle back for this one single part of the game where you can't run. But yeah, as long as you're careful, just use the analog very gently. You can even switch back to the tank controls if you want to this part, but I don't think you want to waste the time on that. Just walk gently. You got plenty of time. At this point, we're just under 231, coming into 231. And that is plenty of time. There's only a few minutes of game left here. We open this up, set the capsule into place. There we go. Close it up. Now have a capsule of nitroglycerin. So fun. Here we go. Running could result in a fatal explosion. It's not just running. Do not fire a heavy weapon. Yep. So just make your way nice and slow and deliberate. This is not the time for big rushing. This is the time for slow walking. We make our way along here. And young Miss Valentine continues through these doors, just retracing our route exactly, heading back up that same part of the hall that we did before. If something does happen unexpected, I've never had it happen, but if something does jump out, statistically your odds are better off just waiting until something's close and taking a point-blank shot, because if you run for more than a second or two, you're just going to blow up. And against a chimera, you're usually going to have to run more than a second or two. So when in doubt, get that single shot off and just hope you don't blow up. But do it right in sequence, you should be fine. We're already almost there, and because we used that extra time before, we don't have to worry about anything jumping out and screwing this whole thing up. So, we're really close to the end now. We're going to head into the boiler room, head over here around the corner, drop off the fuel. Once we drop off the fuel, we can proceed to the next room past the boiler room. Going to fight some chimeras in that next room. And then once we've taken out the chimeras in the next room, we're going to enter a final room where there's a control panel. We're going to hit that control panel. A couple of chimeras in there. Back up, backtrack, head up, and we can stop at the. We'll be able to stop at the save room, and yep, there we are. We're dropping this off. We'll be able to stop at the save room after that, and then head down to shoot Tyrant with the Magnum, and then head up to the helipad. Okay, so we're not going through there. Got rid of the thing. We can function normally again. So yeah, again, here's where I get convinced for some reason the acid rounds are going to be better against the chimeras, and that proves to be untrue. I should just stick with HE against them. But lesson learned in practice here as I watch single acid shells just sort of not get it done. So we're about to see as we run through here. Another chimera, and he just keeps coming, which I was not ready for. Yep, and so second shot wasted. I'm like, you know what? Wasting a lot of ammo on these guys, and we do not have unlimited shells. So 2 shots against that one. Cook him. Move on to the next room. There we are. And realize that I should probably just switch back to Old Faithful, which gets it done. Ba-boom. There we are. By the way, in real life, grenade launchers, yeah, don't really work that way. Don't shoot a grenade launcher at something standing next to you, or even something like, 50 feet away, because it'll probably kill you. There we are. Oh, now here, just about eat it. Take some damage. I examine my shotgun shells in panic while trying to examine this box to open it. They try to combine things. Waste a bunch of time. And I'm like, wait, calm down. Got plenty of time. Examining the box, looking inside. Got some, there we go, got some herbs. We'll be fine. There we go. I got really scared because it was so close to the end of the game. Finally used them. Could have accomplished that entire task in about 4 seconds if I hadn't been so panicky. But, oh well, it works out. We're at 235.5, just past that. Back through this room. No, there's still some guys up in the vents. Got the right weapon equipped. But as of that spot, we've dealt with the last regular enemies that we're going to have to fight before Tyrant. We do get some chimeras during the escape sequence, but actually I know the plural of chimeras. Is it chimera or chimeras? I don't know. Well, anyway, during the escape sequence, you do run into a few, but at that point you've got Barry's Magnum, and any spare ones that you aren't able to outrun, you can just waste with that thing. So there we go. Got some first aid spray if we want it. There's some extra grenades, which we actually could have picked up earlier, and you might want to take note of when you're doing this on your own, having a few extra grenades in your launcher, and those are HE, which are Chimera killers. So could have come in here earlier and grabbed those. Here we are, saving progress, because why not? No, not doing it. Going on, feeling brave. Grabbing the extra stuff. Grabbing the spray. Stopping at the box. Now, we do want to make sure that when we get to this last sequence, you want to leave a couple of spots empty, or at least one spot empty, especially. You're going to need it first for the master key, and later you're going to need it for the fuse so you can get out of the building. So be sure to leave a spot empty. I really, as of this point, mostly just carry healing items, the launcher, some HE, and I actually could have consolidated the HE into the launcher. But you probably aren't going to need anything but the Magnum at this point. It doesn't hurt to have a backup weapon, at least in case something goes terribly wrong. So you've restored power to this elevator. Stand over here to the side. Use it. Press the switch. Elevator comes. And get the elevator's working message. And for some reason here, I just sat for a couple of seconds. I don't know why. Alright, so moved along to this very last bit. Can't skip this part. And we're going to get to the lab. We're going to skip the cutscene with Wesker once we head to the door to the left. You're going to actually have to skip through, I think, 3 cutscenes. So just like click, click, click through all of them. The moment you gain control of Jill, just shoot Tyrant. And get a single bullet usually brings it down. I think I fire 2 out of panic or caution. I do like a double tap. But yeah, here we go. And bam. There we go. Yeah, I fire a second round. It's totally not necessary. Now, once Tyrant's down, run over here. You'll find Wesker. And next to Wesker, or on Wesker's diary, and then right here on the ground, shining, is the master key. Yeah, or the lab key, pardon me. Alright, so past him, keep running. That's not the computer we want to look at. keep going. Right around the end is the lock computer. There we go. So we release the lock so we can get out of the boss room. Don't worry, Tyrant's not going to spring up or anything. And with this, all we have to do is get back up to that. We go up the stairs. So again, that's one of the reasons we burned all those zombies, so we don't have to fool with any crap up there. Back up here, back to this elevator, upstairs, back through the lab area where some chimeras will pop up those stairs, through the little save room we've been using up there, up the ladder, and through the locked door. So there we go. Serum. And most of these guys that are going to come out once we go through the next room, we can simply run past, but you don't have to be afraid to stop and shoot for a second if need be. Here we go. And it's a run and blah, blah. If I remember right, if you go into the surgical room earlier in the game, those guys don't come out because you've already killed them. Alright, there we go. Up here, where we've cleared the path. That shadow is designed to scare us, but it's our own. Up here, back around, past the kerosene tank, into the saving room. Okay, so we're looking at about, we're just under 241 now. Plenty of time. And so you get an idea, you know, you can screw up on most of the boss fights. You can take suboptimal paths. You can mess up time with item boxes. You can save over and over again. You can pick up items you don't need. But as long as you follow this general route, and as long as you're careful, you can finish this game in under 3, and you're going to get the reward of the unlimited rocket launcher. I hope this has been helpful through you. You don't need this weapon. So I hope the talk through helps out some here. And I hope you're enjoying the game. I've really had a good time with it. Anyway, thanks for watching. I hope you've enjoyed yourself, and this has been at least somewhat informative. Wow, there's just wandering around in circles. There's several wasted seconds. You know, let us know if when you do complete this and how you get it done. So, can't carry items anymore? Looky there. Here's why you got to leave a spot empty. Fortunately, you can always burn a health item. Grab the fuse, take it over here, put it in the wall. The fuse is just irritating. I think it's just there to screw with you. Alright, and there we are. And next time you begin the game, once you save after all of this, and again, I skipped the credits and stuff to make sure I could enter the clock, but once you finish the game, you can unlock the rocket launcher and be able to wreak havoc upon the universe as you see fit. Right, nope, can't skip this. And here we are getting ready for the bad ending. Poor Chris, he's still locked down in the dungeon. Tyrant, we know, is not really dead. Barry fell in a big hole, but Jill is going to get away, even though the mansion's not going to explode in big, awesome, fiery kabooms. Got the signal rockets. Got down to the pad. Yep, it's a fun little theatrical bent. And here we are. It's done. Skipping the credits. So thank you so much for watching. I'm Jared for IGN, and we really appreciate it.
Jill,
very much. There we are. 42 creatures killed, 132 or 113 shot. Now we can see all the stuff we're going to get here. This button. Okay, we got the closet key, which is fun. You can, do costumes. But there it is. Ye old unlimited rocket launcher. You also got the samurai edge, which once you have the rocket launcher is not particularly useful, but it'll do. And it's a lot of fun to run through and play with it. The rocket launcher is great because you don't have to arc it or angle it like you do the grenade launcher to get anything done, and it will take just about anything down in one hit. We may have some fun in another video running around the mansion with the launcher. So I do hope you enjoy it and get maximum use out of it. It's nice to see Resident Evil back. It's a fun game, and it's fun once you've gone through all the scares to play it through this way. So from all your friends here at IGN, we say good night, thanks, and bye-bye.